Good evening, ladies. Well, good after. Oh, I don't even know what to call this. Is it evening time? I mean, midday. Hopefully, you guys are having a good Friday. Let me see. Let me go ahead and get into this intro and then I'll be back.
Hey boos, in this video, I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss. I haven't done anything for you to be proud of.
Of course you have. You are marrying a man who can support you.
Okay, so we're going to do a part 2.
So my ex-situationship reached out to me last night for the first time since December, telling me that he thinks about me a lot and he misses cuddling with me and watching movies. To which I responded saying, I miss that too, but it sounds like you and I both want different things and I cannot allow that to happen unless we're on the same page. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he just responded to that message saying, I've never been opposed to that, but right now it would just be dope to have your company and some other things that I don't feel comfortable saying on here. And he said, if you're uncomfortable with that, I get it. On the one hand, I am super grateful that he's being honest with me, but I'd be lying if I said there's not another part of me that is dying on the inside. And this is where all of the self-work that I've been doing for the past year and a half now really comes into play. Because the little girl inside of me is crying right now because she doesn't feel chosen, she doesn't feel wanted, she doesn't feel like anyone ever wants to commit to her. But the healed me is choosing not to believe any of that, because I know that there is someone out there that wants me, that's going to choose me, that is going to want to commit to me, and that is the vision that I will continue to hold. I'm also really grateful because now I know so clearly, like I cannot see it any clearer now, that I can move on and just leave this guy in the past. So yeah, that was a really rough moment. I felt very hurt reading that because there was a part of me that really wanted him to say, like, yes, let's try this again. I want to explore a relationship with you. And it didn't happen. But I'm really proud of myself for not giving in and for choosing myself instead of this guy that really just wants me for his own benefit.
Alrighty. So if you came up here and you spoke the last time, I'm going to have to reject you. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be fair. So I think it's, oh no, that's Mo. I think I spoke to you the last time. Or wait. I think that was a different topic. Okay, I think that was a different topic. Never mind. I don't think I spoke to you about this topic yet. If you were in the last one, please try to give other women a chance to come up here and share their stories. If you came up here the last time, just have integrity. Okay, that's all I can ask, because I really don't remember. I remember seeing Oh No Mo, but I think that was a different topic. So let me go ahead and add you to the live, Mo.
Hey,
How are you doing, sis?
I'm fine, girl. I had to leave work early just so I can get on this topic because I'm the one that said I want to bring this up on the last topic.
Yes, which that was
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine, because I think we had a connection issue the last
Yep.
time as well. Okay, perfect. Yes, I remember you, but I'm like, wait a minute, did we
was talking
the last time?
Well, we talked about the church and how how Mel King old tired ass was doing, how she was like, anyway. But
But what would you
yeah,
like to
so
add to this
huh?
topic? What would you like to add to this topic? Do you have a story time? Because I like a good
Yes,
story.
I do, and I'll be 38, and I'm considered an auntie, and I don't want my nieces going out like I did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I did write some things down. It's not
Okay.
going to be long,
Okay.
but I wanted to start off by saying, to my young girls, I when you choose a man first, and they know you chose them first, they're gonna prey on you.
Mm.
They are gonna suck the life out of you because they know that you chose them. You're gonna work your hardest to make sure that you didn't fail you didn't fail at your choices, basically. And another thing is, your vagina is not a special snowflake. He is not going to change. He's depending on what the situation is. Because the guy I was dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
we dealt with each other in college,
Mm-hmm.
off and on. Then he got married, and I still dealt with him. Just stupid. But I'm letting y'all know not to do that, because your vagina is not that special snowflake that's going to change it.
Okay, so you saying the vagina is not that special?
I mean, it is to somebody, but when it's that type of person that you're dealing with, they're always gonna make you second to something or somebody. It's not special.
See. Okay, let me break it down for the girls real quick because I know some of them are like, "What?" It's not, and the reason why it's not that special is because the man that you want doesn't see your worth. So to
Right.
him, your vagina is not special. To a man that sees your worth, your vagina, everything about you is special. But you
Right.
got to understand that when men are out here looking at you, they not really looking at you. You know what I mean? They don't really see
Exactly.
you for real. So like your vagina is not all that special. That's what she's saying. The only way a man will see you as special, and hopefully it's more than just your vagina, by the way,
It
is he has to see your worth. And unfortunately, not every man out here is going to be able to see that. And
they
it's
are not.
because their intentions are in the wrong place. So they're not even trying to look at you in that way. Or it could be other things like maybe he's just not ready for something serious, but don't automatically think he sees your worth and all of that. Is
Exactly. Because I dealt with him when I was in college. That was in like 2007, 2008. And I noticed him, and usually I'm the type of person I have no problem getting men, nice looking, charming men. But this is my first time with my eyes saying, I like him. I want to talk to him. And when he found that out, it was like blood in the water. So you don't ever let no man know that you like him. You can put it out, or you can be around him, but don't ever let him know like you feeling him to the point where you start competing with yourself. You start outdoing yourself with yourself and the other women that he potentially could be talking to, because you're like, oh my God, I'm going crazy trying to please this person.
But
in a situationship,
it's kind of going back to what you were saying earlier. Like most women who compete are competing to prove that they're worthy of the man, right? And so again, you can't compete with yourself to prove that you're worthy with a man that doesn't want to see your worth. Like he doesn't. He just wants to have sex with you. Like that's it.
And
So
I gave so much. The story. Well, I don't know if it's a story, but yeah, I was dealing with him for a long time, even when he got married. And the thing is, I never was that person, but I never judged women for doing it, because I'm like, I don't know if I would ever do something like that, and I did, stupid enough to do it. And it's not good, because you're gonna always hit a plateau in a situationship, because especially if that person decide they want to finalize a marriage, you're gonna always hit a plateau, because you're never gonna go forward. You're never gonna get anything more or less, and you're gonna be stuck in a, oh my God, I cannot believe I wasted these years, or wasted this time, or these months, or these days with this person that I'm never gonna get my time back from.
do you regret spending the amount of time that you spent?
Yes and no, because I did learn so much from that situation. I learned a lot about myself. I learned about these men. Hell, this man helped me navigate how to navigate more with these men. Because it's
Who
like,
told you?
you know, I know now, like, I'm not gonna settle for coming in second to nobody, and I never did. This was my first time ever doing that. Like, I was like, I'm never gonna come second. If you don't want me, you just don't want me. And then I found myself in that position.
Do you blame him?
No,
No,
because
it's like it's just you just gotta chalk it up. It's part of the game, you know.
yeah,
Like you can't blame the man. You really can't because at the end of the day, you as the woman, you can leave.
yes, you can leave, and then we think that we can't because we put so much value on this person that never put more value on us.
Oh my God, girl!
When
I
you
was
place
asking.
value on somebody, when you personally put value on something, you make it bigger than what it really is.
You know what's crazy though? I was watching Perfect Match last night,
Ooh,
and
me too,
oh, you were okay.
girl.
So the amount of women on the show that went back to a man that had already wasted their time previously is
Yes,
wild to me. Like I'm like, okay, why are you going back for a third round, a
but
second
her
round?
round exactly.
It's
And
like
the amount of
women need to
times
get
I see,
more. You guys need to get uncomfortable. Like, and what do I mean by that? Like, basically, they went back because they were familiar with that
yeah,
person. They were comfortable with that person, and they were afraid to like try something new with a person that may treat them better. They were not willing to take that risk. And that's the problem with women today. You go back and you run back to who's comfortable. But
yeah,
if that person that you run back to is comfortable, they don't know how to treat you right. They don't know how to love on you right. Why are you going back?
exactly. And I was dating other people when we were
Mhm.
off. He was dating, going back. He basically went back to what was familiar to him, which was the mother of his child.
Yep.
And I was just like, I can't compete with. I'm not. I'm tired of competing with all of this shit.
Mm.
And like I said, I never had a problem dating. I never had a problem attracting guys. But that was the man that I wanted, and I was like trying to fight tooth and nail to not feel like I failed at my choices. But you know,
Mm.
you live and you learn, and you know, I'm in a better situation. I mean, I was in a relationship for. After that, I was in a long-term relationship, but then that didn't work out because I was just that's a whole nother anyway. But and now I'm dating, and I love the, you know, where I am, and I'm not all because I am 38 does not mean I'm pressed about being married. Like it you know, I know I can have I know I'm good at having long-term relationships, but it's not, I'm not pressing myself to meet a deadline either. But I just don't want I don't want my nieces, you know, feeling like they have to outdo themselves and compete with themselves for a person in a situationship that don't even, you know, don't even matter. And they waste so much time putting so much value on a person that would never do it for them.
Mm. Have you decided to date out?
That's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing
Do
now.
you wait?
I mean,
Do you
I
regret? Do you regret putting so much effort into just dating from your community?
as of, you know, as from the past couple of years, just thinking about it, yeah, I've dated out before, but I'm taking it more serious now. But
Mm-hmm.
most of I've dated in serious relationships have been black. They haven't been terrible, but it's always like, you know what, this is just not hitting right. Like, what is up? Like, why aren't you put? Why do I have to? Why would, well, with my situation, a lot of the guys I date, they want to lead, and when I move out the way for them to do it, they ask me what to do, and I'm like, get the fuck, get out of here. That's a
Oh,
whole.
but I know
But
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. That's a mess. That's a mess.
yes, it's a mess. But you know, I don't regret it because I mean, as far as me dating now, I actually like this person that I'm dating now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's easy breezy, and I'm actually attracted to him too.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Honduras, so it's cool. So I do recommend, like, just date out, expand your, you know, expand your flavor. You don't have to
Yeah.
just stop at who you look like, you know.
No, no, no. And it's not about hatred. Like I just feel like we live in an era now where it's like we don't have those unwritten rules anymore where we just have to stay with the people that we grew up with or just date in the community that we came from.
Right.
We can date who we want to date. And I just hope Black women are with the times. Like, you don't have to date just the men from your community. You can date whoever
Right.
you want to date. Keep your
And you
options
don't have to
open.
announce it to the world. You don't have
Nope.
to let them know, oh, y'all Black men, you ain't got to do that. Just do
Nope.
it and just enjoy your time and learn from those situations. If they work out, they work out. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah. And having variety is so much fun. I'm sorry. Like, having
Yes.
variety is so much fun. Like, when you're the type of woman where you're used to putting all your eggs in one basket and a person disappoints you, and then you go from
Yes.
having variety, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, okay, like, I'm not going crazy. I'm not, it's just
And it's crazy because I met one of the guys, and I know this, at a baseball game. I went to it. Well, I'm in Atlanta, and I went to, it's a place called the Battery where the baseball, where our team plays. And I just went and got a drink, and the guy, he approached me, and we've been talking ever since.
I love that for you.
So you just got to go out, go to places where
They be at.
they be at. And when he got some money too. So
Right.
yes.
It ain't stingy.
Like the first time somebody sent a card for me for a date, I've never had that. I was like, you sending a card? Let me make sure that was different. I was like, yeah, I got you other men, you better catch up, Mustard. Yeah, I better
the
catch
pressure,
up.
I love it. I love that for you.
Thank you. But yeah, I want my nieces to not to not limit themselves and stop in a situationship where you're gonna always plateau. Especially if you choose somebody over you. Like, just, it's okay to leave.
I love that.
You don't have to fight.
Is that all that you wanted to add?
Yes.
Okay.
And you are cute as usual.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Love y'all.
Love you too. You enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too.
All righty. Oh, I'm gonna call you Miss Love. Miss Love, how are you doing, sweetie? Sean Love?
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm doing good.
That is good. So what would you like to add to this conversation? Do you have a story time?
I do. So I actually just ended a situationship last night.
You said
yesterday, last night.
Oh, last night. Oh, girl.
Let me explain why this one's so interesting.
Oh, okay.
We started dating last year in June. Perfect gentleman. We had so much fun together. We realized our values were different. He wants kids. I do not. I tried to end it, I think, maybe a month or so once I realized that. And he kept coming back to me. And of course, once you get that comfort level with someone, you're a little easier to let them in. Fast forward, we're here now. It's almost been a year. And we constantly get deeper. Then it was I love yous and, how much he cared about me. He would treat me so well. I got so confused. Like, for my birthday, he sent me flowers. They came early. So he had a whole nother arrangement sent to me. He would make sure I had things I need and then turn around and be like, you knew what this was and that we won't work together. And I just so confused that my immune system and my nervous system would just go out of whack. So I realized that I couldn't handle it anymore when he started dating this other girl from church, which would fit more into his values. And I realized, because yesterday we were texting, we were going to go practice. I danced salsa. We were going to go practice at the gym. And he wanted to know what time I was free. So he added in like, oh, I got plans at 7. I'm going dancing. Oh, the same place I took you to, which is basically letting me know that he was taking out the other girl. And my body just reacted. And I just was like, I cried all the way to class. And I'm like, I can't do this shit no more. So I ended it yesterday. He was super pissed. And he tried to make it as if I was victimizing him and hurting his feelings. When really you just want to keep me here until you find what you're really looking for. And I'm upset with me because I ended this so many times. I knew that it was going to end like this, but I kept falling for it. He got sweeter and sweeter every time. I mean, when I tell you, he treats me perfectly. That's the most confusing shit. So, ladies, my thing is where I messed up is I was not clear. I didn't set intentions. I never asked, what are we doing? If I could go back to that first month, I would have asked, where do you see us going? If I had done that, I wouldn't be almost a year and ending this shit last night in an argument because you mad because I won't give you access to me anymore. And girl, the way I felt crying on my way to salsa class, I was like, my body can't take it.
So
I can't take it.
you felt like the nature from beginning, very start to the end, you guys were always in limbos with one another.
Yes.
And so I guess, I mean, I get it. Like you start liking somebody, you start hanging around somebody, you start sleeping with somebody, you become comfortable with that person, but nothing has been really set in stone within this connection.
Exactly.
And so it just kind of spiraled kind of out of control. And so you guys never had that conversation about kids and all of that. It's just.
We talked about that early on, but the way he tried to do it in the beginning was, oh, I could go without them. And tried to make it like it wasn't a big deal. But then all of a sudden, 6 months in, now you got baby fever. And now it's more serious. And I wasn't budging on that for nobody. My daughter's 15. I'm not starting over for what?
Ooh, yeah.
No, ma'am. I'm 32. She's going to be grown. I'm going to be living my life. But it was like, he's very into the church. And I'm not a Christian. But he didn't lead with that. You didn't say, oh, I work in the church. At first, you didn't say, oh, it's mandatory that I have kids. He did it as if he could go without it. So then I get into his life for real and I see that he can't go without it. And that he really is into the church. He really wants to have kids. Like, why would you play like that?
I think the reason why he did that was because so many women say things that they don't stand on. And so when a man comes along and meets a woman who stands on the things that she says, they don't know how to take that. They'll try to manipulate their way into getting you to fold. But when they actually meet a woman who's not going to fold, who's going to stand firm and stand 10 toes down, they feel played. But it's like you told him from the very beginning. But they're so used to women folding, though. They're so used to women bending their standards. They're so used to women not really being about the things that they say. So I think that's where the confusion came in. And unfortunately, it's because he made the assumption.
Yeah. And then what also is confusing is that he told me, I treat you as if I'm going to marry you. If you didn't see me that way, because this is the last few months where he was saying, well, we're not going to be together, but we'll still hang out. If you didn't see me that way, why would you constantly be doing these things? He treats me as if I'm his girlfriend. And I kept telling him, like, you got to stop. Because he'll ask me if I need anything, go grocery shopping for me, make sure I got food, make sure I get my car fixed if I need it. Do I need pocket money? Do I need to go anywhere? If my car was down or just whatever you need, I'm taking care of you. And then tell me that you don't see me that way. It's the most confusing shit. So ladies, do not let the sweetness fool you. Ask that man, ask him this. This is the question. If you were me, I think the question, how did it go? It says, if you were me, what would you do in this situation? What that does is puts him in your place. It lets him answer the question for you. Like if he's not real about it, he'd be like, oh, well, if I was you, I'd keep dating other people. Or if I was you, I would keep dating me so that we could grow into something. It basically puts him in your position and asks him specifically. If I would have asked him specifically, I wouldn't be in emotional pain.
Oh my gosh. That's why you have to be so direct with them. If you are not direct, and if direct meaning blunt, direct, that's how they communicate with other men, direct and very blunt. So it's like if as a woman, you are trying to be a nurturer, right? And I'm not saying be disrespectful, but you just are very direct and blunt when it comes to how you feel, where you stand, your emotions, how you see things. Because if you leave room for them to assume, oh my gosh, it's a recipe for disaster.
It is. And last night when I told him I need a space, it was very to the point. It says, listen, I need space. I see you around. Be safe. Oh, he was mad as hell, girl. But I'm glad I did it. I'm about to heal. I go on a cruise next on the 8th. And I'm about to just meditate every morning, get my shit together. I'm not ever doing this again. Ladies, please. I beg of you. Do not be clear. Ask them. Don't rush and ask them, and don't be too aggressive. But if you're dating a few weeks, be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
what's your intentions? What are
Where
you
we going?
interested? Where you interested in us going?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them make you feel like you pestering them. No, nigga, don't waste my time.
Right. And then I also have this question for you. Like, what was your goal when you entered this? You didn't have one? You kind of just went with the flow?
Well, initially, we met on Hinge. So I was serious. I was ready. I did the work. I was ready to intentionally date. And we were dating for like 6 weeks before we got into our values are different situation.
Okay.
So I was ready. But sometimes you're going to meet people who just ain't for you. And if we're stupid, like myself, we'll stay in it too long. So that's my.
You said you dated. Yeah, I could. Yeah, that's kind of long. But I feel like I think this was a lesson for you to grow and heal from, so you can actually be prepared for the next thing that's actually for you. Because sometimes we get tested before the real thing comes in, because there's still things that we have not really noticed about ourselves in that space. So do you think you learned something new? Because you said you did the work before, but
Yeah.
then you also found yourself in this situation. How do you feel about that?
This is what it taught me. I had given up on black men. To be honest with you, I'm from Detroit. I had given up on them. Meeting him taught me that there were still good men out there. He treated me wonderfully. I would give him that. And that's what I needed to see. I needed to see the example of someone treating me in a way where I'm not suffering initially, like with drama. And I should have ended it quickly and then still had that pretty picture of that beautiful summer we had. But when you drag it, you're going to ruin just that little bit that you were meant to learn. So that's what I learned. Don't drag it out. And it was just an example that not everyone is bad and not all black men are bad. So that's my little story. Don't be like me. Thanks for answering me.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sean, for coming up here.
For sure. Have a good
Really
rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, is it Transcendence?
Yes.
How are you doing?
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm on here. By the way, I'm working.
Wait. What happened?
Can you hear me?
Okay, you're back. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, I was saying if I do hang up, just know it's probably my boss telling me to
Oh,
get
girl. Okay. Don't worry. Girl, you cool with me. I'll just be like, well, we're going to have to move on.
Hey, your makeup looks so good.
Thank you. Thank you. What would you like to add to the conversation? Do you have a story time?
Yes. So it's sort of kind of a situationship, but there wasn't, sex involved.
Okay.
And the reason why was because a couple of months prior to that, I felt like I gave myself too soon to someone.
Okay.
And let's just say before this, I never knew, and I know this word gets thrown out a lot, but I honestly never knew like the true meaning of I didn't even know what like narcissism, none of that was until I came across this one gentleman. And he had me searching up that word because I literally, ever since him, I started approaching dating a little bit differently. And this one situation that I'm gonna speak of, it was a Dominican guy. He was very nice. He had gotten out of a relationship, which red flag number one. Let a man heal for 2-3 years, honestly, because
Girl, you ain't lying about that.
yeah, the minute a guy tells you I just got out of a relationship, don't date him, or at least just don't take him seriously. Use them for what you can, have fun, go on dates, whatever, but just don't take it seriously. Anyways, so this guy, he was very nice, he was very sweet. He moved really quickly because right off the bat, like he wanted me to like meet his family, which I did. Yeah. It was just, at first I was like hesitant because I'm like, I probably shouldn't, but my friend was like, no, like, that means like he really likes you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I know, but this day and age, it doesn't even matter. Like the family can be in the BS too,
But
they can
how long had you guys been seeing each other?
probably like a month and a half. Yeah.
That's not as long though,
It,
but that's what
exactly.
them narcissisms, that's what they be doing out here. They put on a good show.
Listen, so met his family, then afterwards met his best friends. They even invited me to like a wedding that was coming up. Just everything. Like he like sold me, what is that, future faking?
Oh yeah, them
Yeah,
narcissists, they good for that.
exactly. So we would hang out a lot, go out on dates, and I just wanted, and it wasn't intentional really,
Mhm.
where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna wait till like 3 months before I get, involved sexually with this man. It was just like, I just know by 3 months or 4 months or whatever, like I would actually really like him. And by that time, I would know if I want to continue dealing with him, and, same with him. So let's just say this man, when I asked him, I was like, after 3 months, I was like, hey, like, where's this, kind of going? He was like, what do you mean? I was like, what are we doing here? He was like, we're just friends. I was like, just friends? He was like, yeah, we're just friends. I was like, you're kidding me, right? Like, what, all that time? And I know 3 months isn't long, but after 3 months, like you
Well, girl,
kind of know like
the
what's
type of stuff that he was doing with you in 3 months, like
exactly.
what do you mean we just friends? That's
Yeah.
what I be saying. That listen, men can manipulate you with their actions too.
Yeah. 100%. And I think this is what really, really confused me and solidified the idea of, not only do you not, do you pay attention to a man's word, but their action, both. You have to listen to both and watch both. You know what I mean? They can
Yeah.
tell you that they like you and do something else. They can show you that they like you, but say something else, So to me, like, actions and words have to match all at the same time, so that's a lesson that I definitely learned from that whole situation. But it got, once that conversation happened, I remember, I had his Levi jacket and he wanted it, and I was being petty. I was like, no, I'm not going to give it to you just because. But anyways, I went to his apartment. He lives in really nice, he's a very successful guy or whatever. He lives in a really nice, condo. So I just went up there, knocked on the door to just be like, here, take it. I don't want anything to do with you. It is what it is, whatever. I'll take my L. And the
Right.
girl answered the door.
Girl.
It was so, I didn't even know how to react. And the look on her face, she was like, first I walked away and I was looking at the number and I was like, oh, I was
That's
like,
the
does
wrong.
blah, blah, blah live here? She's like, yeah, he's at the gym. And I was like, first of all, so you're just here by yourself. So he just let you like hang out here. So I was really insulted, but she was so nice. I wasn't mad at her in any way, shape,
They
or
having
form.
sex.
Yeah, no, for sure. And she was like, she felt so bad. And I was like, no, like, it's not your fault. Cause she was like, who are you? And I was, explaining to her, and she was like, oh my God, I did not know. I just met him like a month ago. And, we started hanging out. And I was like, no, it's not your fault. Like, super sweet girl. And, she end up inviting me in or whatever, because we're gonna wait for him to get back from the gym. And we were just talking, and I had my friend on the phone, and my friend was just going off. It was like, he did this for her, she met her family, blah blah blah, just everything. And
You know what it's giving, sis? I'm sorry, but you know what it's giving? It's giving, he put you in the wifey category, put you in the back pocket because y'all weren't having sex.
mm-hmm.
And then the girl that he was having sex to, he gave more access to.
Yeah.
The times we live in.
Let's just say that situation, I ended up apologizing to him because of the way I acted, because I did get physical. I'm not going to lie. It was my first time ever, but it was because he said, if I really liked you, when I really like someone, I don't introduce them to my family. And I was like, what sense does that make? That's so ass backwards, you know? I was
Dang.
like, so you're saying if you like someone, you don't introduce them to your family? I was like, you realize that makes absolutely no sense, like at all. And that's what just triggered me because, you know, I got close to like his cousin, you know, so just things like that. I was just like, I don't know, like it was really bad because I'm not proud. This is literally like, I'm not proud of this moment at all. But like I said, I
Girl,
got
we
this
had a
whole.
similar situation not that long ago because I popped up at the house too. His neighbor let me in because his neighbor sees me all the time. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Walking the
Yeah,
dog. I'm coming up to the door. He's like, "Let you in." And I'm
yeah.
like, "Okay." I get to the door. I hear another girl. I hear another girl up in there, and I'm like, my ears are deceiving me. What's going on here,
Right.
girl? Listen. I'm older,
Hmm.
so I ghosted after that. Like I didn't even wait for the door to open. I heard what I needed to hear. I had my ear up against the
Oh
door,
my
like.
God.
And so after that situation, I just ghosted it. I moved states, girl.
Oh,
Like, I ain't dealing with that. Bye. I didn't even say bye. I
yeah.
just disappeared.
No, the situation was so, it was really sad because I'm not gonna lie, I never thought that I could fall in love, you know. And I've been in relationships before, and you know, after dealing with like a death of someone I dated when I was younger, I just never thought it was possible for me to like fall in love and just, you know, family situation and, you know, that whole that's another story. But I just, with him, I felt safe, you know, like I really did feel safe. He made me like I could actually like see myself with him, like with his family, our kids, and like getting married. Like I had, and this isn't the whole like, oh, women, you know, when we meet someone, we automatically think we're gonna marry them. This wasn't that situation because
Girl,
I
he
don't.
painted a whole picture. What do you mean?
Yeah.
He
Like he was
painted
planning
a
on
whole
taking me
picture.
like to go meet his family like in the Dominican Republic, like all of that. So I really, really did, I got played, you know. So and as sad as that situation was, because I end up like shaving my head off, I mean my hair off.
I did too.
Yeah, it was just, it was, I had a really, really bad mental breakdown from that situation, but it taught me, you know, like I am capable of loving someone, but
Right.
also the fact that like, okay, whether or not, like, I wasn't sure, like, okay, maybe I kind of doubted myself. I was like, maybe I should have slept with him. Would that have helped? But I was like, no, that
No.
probably would have made it even worse if I would have slept with him and I found out he was with another woman, you know? So, I mean, I know it's not I guess you would call it situationship because, you know, we didn't get intimate, but I don't
Girl,
know that whole
it was still
situation.
a situationship to me, in my opinion, without sex, simply because you met his family. He painted this future. And have you got to the healing process part where you realized it was all a lie?
Oh
It was
yeah.
all an act. You've gotten
Hmm.
to that. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a year
Okay.
since that, and I'm fine. You know, and my friends, they ask me to this day, like, you know, clearly it seems like he may have liked you or care for you. You think if he was to ever like contact you and try to get back with you, would you let that happen? I was like, the minute I stop liking someone, it's
Yeah, I'm
hard
done.
for me. Like I can never go back. Like it's
Mm-mm.
just, you are disgusting. You are a monster. I don't see you as anything. You're irrelevant. Like you are just another human being like that's I'm
Girl,
gonna
what's
walk
your
past.
sign?
I'm a Libra.
Oh, Libra.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a
like
Libra.
when we done with people, it's a wrap. I don't even look at you
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah, it's just a no-go for me. Like
You a
just the
stranger
sight
to
of you
me.
make me want to throw up. But yeah, that was my situation. Just thought, you know, hopefully that can help, you know. Like I said, I think also a major point is ladies, if a guy is freshly out of a relationship, please just approach that situation like just yeah, just pump the brakes a little bit, you know?
What is up with men wanting to get into a situationship with a woman right out of a relationship? And it just seems, listen, it's if a man is doing that, it's really the foundation for narcissism because
Hmm.
narcissism needs supply.
Oh yes.
They need to have a supply. So if they don't do that, if a man is coming to you or stepping to you saying, "Yeah, I just got a relationship, blah blah blah," he needs another supply. He needs a new supply. And don't believe the story that he tells about the ex.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
I
So
agree.
yeah.
I
Thank
agree.
you so
And
much
he
for
was grown too.
how
So
old
age
was
don't even,
he?
well, I mean, he wasn't old, but he was grown. He was what, 30? I mean, he's probably 32 now because I'm 31. So yeah, 32, 33, you know, like he's an older guy, you know, he's not like a 20-year-old or something. So who knows?
That's
But
crazy.
yes, that's my story.
Well, thank you for sharing. I'm sorry you had to go through that, but I'm wishing you all the healing, all the love in the world because, girl, that's a lot.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so
You're
glad I got to
welcome.
chat with you. I've
You're
been
welcome.
waiting.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up here and sharing. I really do appreciate it.
Of course. Have a
You
wonderful
did it.
day. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Miss Jamie, or is Mr. Jamie?
Can you hear me?
Yes. So, Miss Jamie, how are you doing?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right.
Oh, no, I can hear you.
I am sitting in Chicago rush hour right now, and
Oh.
I'm a little nervous, but once I start talking, I'll be a little calm.
Girl,
But
you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna be just fine. It's all warm and cozy up here. Go ahead, sis.
so when I was 27 years old,
Mm-hmm.
my spiritual awakening, I would say my Saturn return,
Ooh.
2020, it was a different time in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world shut down, and I was really like focusing on like my life and things that I would talk about. It was like manifesting, like the world shutting down. I'm like, I manifested. I had visions of this, and
Hmm.
now the world is shutting down. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So, Chicago 2020, it was just a different time. Like COVID, I felt like I had the world in my hands. I also felt like I was like, in that time where I'm preparing to be a wife, working on my femininity and just being the best version of myself. I was also in my master's program, just building.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got introduced to Kevin Samuels.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got invited into his Facebook group.
Oh, girl.
In this Facebook group, this is before Kevin went viral. This was the original group.
Mm-hmm.
So you could consider me like one of the original women a part of the group.
Girl, y'all coming with the tea
So
today. Girl.
so inside the group, KS would talk about, how women should be, how they should carry themselves, how they should lead. And we all went through, the whole world saw KS on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so inside the group, they would treat us differently. We were guests in the group. So whenever they would talk disrespectfully towards the women, we'll speak up, but they'll be like, pretty much shut up. Y'all are guests. Y'all don't say nothing. So it was like that, I guess they had their little power to bully us. And so inside the group, I was introduced to a member.
Mm-hmm.
And he had it all put together. He was everything on paper that KS would say, this is a high value man, top tier.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay. And I'm like, when I first saw him, when he shot a shot, I kept curving him. I curved him all for like, I want to say June, 6 months. For 6 months, I curved him. I curved him, and then he'll start
Did
like
you have a
being
reason for doing that?
It's just I felt like his on his like page, his Instagram and Facebook page,
Mm-hmm.
he took pictures like a auntie. Like it was giving auntie vibes, and I was like, I don't know if he's gay or I didn't know what I couldn't peep the scene. So
He was
then I'm
looking a little
like,
fruity.
right, but I was like, you know what? He was a well-dressed man, and I'm like, you know what? Give him a shot. Just give it a chance. But then I was like, you know what? Nah, just keep curving. I kept curving him. So then eventually I got invited to his birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Went to his birthday party. I was introduced to his mom, his whole family, his best friends since childhood. Everybody loved me. I networked. I pretty much worked the room. It was
Oh,
three
okay.
other women that was there that was interested in him, and I was pretty much putting my name in a basket. Those women pretty much left the whole party. So by the end of the night, we had a good time, and by the end of the night, I got really, really dizzy and got sick, and ended up sleeping with him that night. So this is where I messed up.
Girl, did he drug you though?
No, he didn't. Me and his mom had a blunt, so we, me and his mom, we were smoking.
You
So
know, I can't even judge because, girl, I know I was during the pandemic. I was high as hell. I'm sorry.
yeah, so
Girl, I had
no.
them pre-rolls ready to go, honey.
And she had Medicaid, so I'm like, you know, I was gone. So I just was not. I KO, and then I woke up. We had a conversation, and I just was really feeling him. And so during the time we had sex, while we were having sex, I was crying. I started crying. And at that moment, that's when I realized I am going to learn something from this man. I don't know what I'm about to learn from this man, but he about to teach me something very valuable, and it's about to grow me up or break me down. I don't know what it is, but it's about to happen to me. The next couple of days or the next couple of weeks, we bonded. We would talk every single day. We text. It got to the point where we were going to look at engagement ring shopping. So he was like, you know, I really want to see you more often. I want you to move in. So he started to clear out a space in his drawer, his closet. He wanted me to move into his place. At the time, I moved my mom and my brother into my place during the pandemic. And so I was like, you know, since my home is not my home anymore, I can be with my man now. So I'm playing house. Whole time I'm playing house. I'm like, okay, he started to act like distant whenever I would go home. And so I'm like, you know, maybe I need to be there more. I'm like, instead of just pulling back and just observing, I just pushed myself onto him. And so then from there, I already had, before we started dating, I had a trip to Washington, D.C. that I had planned with one of my line sisters. And so I already told him that from the beginning. And so he thought that I was going there to meet up with like a girl's trip to go have sex with men there. And I'm like, what? So
I mean, that's a wild assumption.
A hell of a wild, but a lot of the red pill men, they think that when women go on these trips, girls' trips, they're sleeping around with different men. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I just went to DC because that's where my sorority was founded in, and I never went to DC before. You know, like that's my perspective, but he didn't understand that. So then as time goes on, he thought I went there to go to be with other guys. So he flew out to another city in a state to be with another girl within the group. So I'm in Washington going through my timeline, and I see him in Boston. I'm like, what is going on? So then I'm like, so now we're going back and forth. And then he's like, you said you called me a friend, and so I just booked the flight. Then I'm going down my timeline. He said, I always wanted to be here. Always wanted to travel here to like try like different restaurants, try their shopping. It's nothing here. I'm like, I'm not here for anybody. But as I'm strolling down my timeline, I see this one of the girls that was in the group. She posted a picture or a video of her being at Tiffany's. And I'm like, hold on, wait, I was looking at that ring. That ring looked familiar.
Oh my God. Why do they do that? Oh my.
So then crazy. From there, I'm like, and so she took a picture and I could see his Gucci bag in the corner of the photo. So I'm like, okay. Fast forward, I fly back to Chicago. He comes back and we had this conversation. We had this talk, and he was like, no, I didn't go there. I did meet up with a young lady in Boston, but he didn't tell me this until I found out. So I had to present the evidence to him, and that's when he kind of held back. So I'm a fast forward. So for that whole year, he cheated on me twice with 2 girls from the group. One of the girls, I actually met her in person. We met her the same day. They slid and got each other. They exchanged each other's numbers during our first city mixer, because what the men were doing in that group, they were meeting up with other women because they knew we wasn't talking to each other. And they knew that because we weren't talking to each other, because we were discreet and we don't want people in our business, that they can have sex and travel to different cities and states to be with these different women just because they're high value and they got a bag. That shit don't mean shit when they die.
It don't. But you know what's crazy
already
though?
Showed us.
These are the type of men that Kevin Samuels brought together?
Yes. So then, fast forward. So I wanted to get myself, I was tired of the riffraff. I told myself time after time, I'm done. I'm over. I realized that he had some narcissistic behaviors, and that's when I started to doing research on narcissistic behaviors in men. So then I'm like, everything went, I'm like, he hitting the head on everything. And I'm like, but I still have feelings for him. I still love him. I was still attached to him. And it was because I had that sexual bond to him.
Right.
So then fast forward, I want to say, the last time I was with him, or the last time I had sex with him, I saw another woman's things there, and I'm like, I'm done, no more. I was like, I'm done. I left the next day and I stopped talking to him. I blocked him on social media, and that was it. He reaches out to me on email. Now we're emailing each other, and now I'm like, okay, I can probably unblock him. Now I can get comfortable, and I got back comfortable. So now we're communicating with each other. And so he sends me a KS video about women who grew up with mothers or with bad relationships with their mothers or something like that. And then I watched to the end. I'm like, you know what? That's the thing. I'm going to go get therapy. And I'm like, how the person that was causing me pain leads me to the well of fountain to heal me.
Ain't it crazy?
So I went to therapy, and as I'm going through therapy, during the time I was in therapy, this was last year in October, I was going through a sober October where I wasn't having no sex, no weed, no drinking, no nothing. I was just sober. I wanted to get my mind right, and I wanted to see where my life is going to be, because I was approaching 30. I'm like, I'm about to enter a new phase in my life. I need to see what I want for myself. And my therapist, she just told me, I want you to date. Just get out there and start dating. So I started back dating, but now my ex is trying to get back in the picture. So I'm like, now we're talking. We're not having sex. I can think clear. I can act. We could talk about anything. We're not together. So everything felt normal. It felt like everything was on the right path. This was in October. November, I was spending time with him. We started having sex. I broke my sober October, and I gave in. I caved in. And so now we're having a sexual relationship. So November, he injured himself. He gets injured playing basketball with his friends. So he calls me. The next day we go to the hospital. Like, I was the girl that cooked, clean. I helped him with anything like if he needed assistance with I couldn't say assistance with bills because I did not assist him with bills, but I pretty much knew like his financial problems, if that makes sense. He trusts me well enough to know certain information. I met his family and everything, but the only thing I did not meet was his children. And I was dealing with him for 2 years. So this is fast forward last November. So he gets injured, went to the hospital with him. The next day was Thanksgiving Day. He did not tell his mother that he got injured. And she was pretty upset with him for not telling her, but he told me first. And from there, that's when I realized he don't like women. I'm like, I spent 2 years with this man, and I'm realizing he really don't like women, especially with the way he treat me. And so the way his mama was talking to him, she was talking to him like he was a little boy. This man is 37 years old. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm peeping this, I'm just peeping everything. And I'm like, okay, just watch it, but be quiet. Just watch how his mom's dynamic is, and then just leave it alone. If he want to talk to you, let him talk. So we go upstairs. A girl kept calling his phone. And I'm like, I see the initials, LB. So I'm like, dismiss it. Y'all not together. Mind your business. You got people that call your phone. I'm sure it's people calling your phone, but I'm like, this girl keep calling his phone, and I'm like, something's not right about this. So then later on that night, we spent time with the family, had our Thanksgiving dinner, watched the game, and then the next day I left and went home. That was the last day I saw him. So fast forward, I'm like, okay, hey, babe, I know you were just injured. I know you're about to go to surgery. Do you need any assistance with anything? No, my mom is here. She got everything. I'm good. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, why haven't I seen him? It's going on 2 weeks now. My birthday is at the middle of, towards the end of December.
Girl, he dealing with somebody else.
Girl, it's even worse. And I'm finna tell y'all the bad part. So some told me I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Some told me to find the initials LB. So I go to his page and I found 2 girls with the same initials. How did I find this? I'm looking through his likes and his comments. So I'm a private investigator. Okay, I became a private investigator. So, and Spirit woke me up at 4 a.m. in the
girl, you know them spirit hours too, 3, 4, 5
hours, baby. So I wake up and I was like, Spirit, some said, follow the girl. I was like, no, don't follow her. Because your therapist not going to like it. And she going to have something to say to you. And you know better. So you better hang up your phone and go back to sleep. And that's what I did. But then 2 days later, it came back up to me. I was like, if it came back up to me, that means Spirit want me to really investigate. So then I went back to investigate the scene again. I followed the girl. Her page was private. She followed me back. He sends me a text message. We need to talk. Then
this is crazy.
I'm taking a deep breath on this one. So that was on a Thursday. The next day, I'm well known here. So I have another job. I have a second job where I work different events here. And I was doing a charity event at the Chicago Museum.
Okay.
I was doing a charity event. And he was sending me videos of how a wife should dress, how a wife should act on social media, and how a wife should behave. And so some of these women look like slave women back in the day. I'm like, you don't even want to have sex with these women. So I'm watching a video and I'm like, just watch the video, but don't say nothing. Hold your tongue. Just see where he's trying to come from. Look from his perspective. I'm like, okay. So then he's sending me these videos. I'm following the girl now. She posting pictures of Mr. and Mrs. Then she posting videos of the candles and Nordstrom bags in the background. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she in his house. This the one. This the girl. She it. I found her. So then he took her to Nordstrom's that day. So while you sending me videos of how a wife should be and how a wife should act and dress on Instagram and Facebook, you with this bitch at Nordstrom's. All right. So I go, I'm sorry for cursing on your show.
Girl, it's okay, but it seemed like he was trying to recruit you to be a doorman. That's what it sounded like.
Yes, a placeholder. So then he goes, and I'm like, okay, let me peep the scene some more. So then I had a panic attack at 1 o'clock in the morning when I started to put the pieces together. And I was like, you know what, Fee, you gotta think. You gotta think hard, long and hard on this. So I thought long and hard on this. The next morning, well, around 1 o'clock, I started calling his phone like 10 times or something like that. That was a bad thing that I done, but I was very anxious, and that's something that I'm working through with myself. But I was able to clean it up the next morning. So he texted me. He didn't call me, he texted me, which means she's at the house.
Right.
So he texted me like, hey, why you call me so many times? I was like, oh, I had a family emergency. Something happened with my mom. And I was calling you to see if you can be there. And normally, if I had a family emergency, he'll drop everything he's doing. Even if he was with another woman, he'll drop whatever he's doing to be with me. This time, it was different. So then I'm like, okay. And so he was like, well, is everything okay? I'm like, everything is fine now. Thanks for reaching back out to me. And I was like, hey, my birthday is next week. I don't have smell and taste because I had COVID. Would you mind coming with me to pick out a new fragrance for my birthday at Nordstrom's? And he was like, yeah, what time you want to go? I gave him time. And I was like, okay, I will be at your house at this time. Because normally we will always go to his house first and then go downtown. So this time he was like, oh, I'm running errands. I'm going to come scoop you. Why can't I come to the house? So then I'm like, all right. So then he comes pick me up. Before he comes to pick me up, he was like lagging. So then I'm like, I should go to the house. I should just pop up. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. Your therapist's going to be mad at you. So don't do that. So then I was like, girl, pack a bag. Pack a bag. So I packed my luggage.
So you started getting smart, girl.
So when he pulled up, he saw me with my bag. His whole face dropped. I'm like, I do mind games, baby. So
when you start playing the mind games back, they don't know what to do. And
no, he didn't know because he thought I was gullible, baby. He thought I was naive. He thought I was dumb.
Yep.
I'm far from dumb. I just couldn't believe you would really do something like this.
Girl, they will do it.
I'm God's chosen, baby. You don't know who I am.
This is a mess.
Then he goes on. So then, mind you, we're on our way to the mall. And so his BM calls and something happened with that. And then I was like, oh, so what did you do yesterday? He was like, oh, I actually went to Nordstrom's yesterday. I was like, oh, okay, so why didn't you invite me? You normally take me. He was like, I just, man, something came up. I don't even remember the time. I was like, well, next time, just remember to, just pick up the phone. I'm right here. I'm here for you. And so I was just learning to be soft and not be explosive, right? And it kind of took him aback because it's like, that's not me. So then we finally get to the location. Yes. We make it to Nordstrom's. One of the ladies at the counter was like, oh, I remember you and you from yesterday.
Oh my God, this is a mess.
And so I said, excuse me. He was like, oh, no. He's talking about me in the car. I said, no, she didn't. Because she looked at you and she looked at me. What is she talking about? So then I started shaking. I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I have social anxiety. I'm sorry, ma'am. Hold on, please. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready. So she's tried to explain to me the fragrance. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I can't do this. So I walk away. He like, why are you overreacting? It's nothing. What are you doing? Even if I'm like, who was it? Who was it? He was like, you wouldn't know if I told you. I'm like, what? He was like, come on, man. Like, I'm like, are you serious? Who is it? He leaves me and goes down to the second floor to go have a drink at the bar. I go upstairs to go to the bathroom. Tell me why one of a second cashier comes up to me and tells me, you're not the woman that came with him yesterday. We remember him from yesterday, and he was here with another woman. You deserve way much more, and you look better than that other girl. So then,
too much. Wait a minute, I'm not ready.
It gets worse. It gets worse. I'm getting to the end. So then I go back And then that's when I called my mom, and my mom was like, she started laughing. She was like, that just reminds me of your daddy. And this is why it's important for us to really do our research and understand the backgrounds of our family generations and why our families do what they do and
Your
break the
daddy?
generational curses.
Yep.
Yes. Because my mom, them baby boomers, I would be on here for hours. But anyways, back to the story. So I had a conversation with my mom, and it ended well. I cried. It made me feel really good. And that was like the first time I ever felt like me and my mom really genuinely connected. So then I get off the phone, and so I text him. I'm like, hey, I'm ready to go. So 2 other male cashiers from the same place came up to me and confirmed. So 4 people confirmed that he was there with another woman. So we leave. He takes me to a restaurant. I am a Capricorn. So we leave, and he takes me to a restaurant. He always, whenever he messes up, he always takes me to an elaborate restaurant, something that's gonna capture the romance. That's what he does. Or he'll play that playlist that triggers me and
such a high value man.
Yeah. So then from there, he tells me the other girl was raised to be a wife, and I'm not there yet. And so I was like, well, if she's raised to be a wife, then you need to be there, and I need to be away working on myself so my husband can find me. Stop holding me back from that. And I'm like, matter of fact, you don't have to hold me back. I'm a remove myself from the equation. So then he was like, no, but you have my heart and she has my mind. But you have my heart, and I'm in a sticky situation right now. Like I want you, but she was raised to be a wife. And I'm like, no, she do the things that I'm not gonna do. She is doing the things I would never do for you.
What is she doing? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I don't like, I guess, cooking, cleaning.
It sounds
bills.
Like the type
she
of
does 50-50. I don't do 50-50 with him. The most I did was I would cook a little meal for my man when I would come from the gym, or straighten up or clean up or something like that. But that's it. Now, I'm not doing the laundry or anything like that, but I was just straightening up his house or things like that when I'm there. But I mean, like, how
are you supposed to show? This is what I'm not understanding. I'm sorry. Like, he never put you in a space where you were truly safe and secure and emotionally stable. So how can he judge you for not being?
He didn't give me a shot. He didn't even give me a chance, because he was going off of what is a high value woman, based off of those standards these men had created. There's no such thing as a blueprint to love.
It's not.
You find a person, you get to know them. And through this journey of life, you learn each other and learn to live and coexist with each other. Family is the most important thing.
That space. I just feel like he shortchanged you, because he never really gave you that space to be secure with him. So how can he judge you about being wifey? Like, he can't.
He couldn't, but he had no intentions of making me that.
Exactly.
That was the reality of it. I wasn't his wife. I was his placeholder. He didn't see a future with me, because he saw I could be taken from him any second. I can walk out the door and men will pull up, they would crash just to get my number. So it was like he didn't have the confidence within himself. And throughout our relationship, it was some questionable things. This man he asked me to go with him to go look at makeup. He used to get his nails painted. Like, girl, I didn't see it all. So back to the story. Let me finish this story up.
That's crazy.
So he goes on and tells me, and I was like, okay, well, I'm ready to go home. So he takes me home. We're sitting in front of my apartment for the next hour and a half, and the girl is calling him nonstop. So I'm like, you know what? It's time for you to get home, because it seems like, I'm like, well, that's when I realized or found out that the girl actually lived with him. Because I'm like, why is she blowing up your phone? He was like, she waiting for me. I was like, she at the house? He was like, she moved in. And I'm like, okay, you gotta go. I'm about to go. That's when he grabs my arm and tells me to stay. He was like, no, I want you. I'm like, you can't say you want me and you got another woman in your house. None of that makes sense. So I grabbed my things, leave, and get out, went upstairs. Then for the next course of the next couple of days, the girl started watching me, started liking my pictures, started commenting underneath my posts.
It's giving he was comparing you to her.
The girl looks like a great value version of me. That's what my friend said. So then as time goes on, now it's my birthday. And he was supposed to do something for my birthday. And of course, he doesn't do it because someone takes me out for my birthday. And I'm like, you can't, we're not together. You have another woman at home. And I'm like, you know what? Just leave it alone. Fast forward, New Year's Eve, we talked to each other for like 3 hours. He was preparing for New Year's Eve or something like that.
Wait, what year is it?
This is 2022.
Okay.
So right at the beginning of the year or end of the year. So we're he's getting fitted for his tuxedo for the new year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked and I was just letting him know, like, you know, maybe in the future we can probably be friends, but I need to break away from you. Like, I can't talk to you like that. We cannot remain in contact. And so he just kept going for hours and hours, like, no, it pretty much putting the blame on me. So I ended up just ended the conversation and I got off the phone. Fast forward, the next day, I sent him a long text message saying, I'm done. I'm officially blocking you. I blocked him on all social media. I blocked him from my number. So the new year happened. I guess it's 2 days into the year. I'm at the gym working out and I see the girl walk into the gym, followed by him. This is the same gym we both used to go to together. So he walked in with the girl at this gym. She goes into the locker room and I'm working out. He walks past me, doesn't say a thing. Then the girl walks past me and goes to do whatever she does. And at this point, I'm like working out and I can't breathe because I'm working out. I also have social anxiety. So now I'm having a panic attack and I can't breathe. So I'm like, you know what? Let's wrap this up. Let's pick up your mat. Let's go. So as I'm wrapping up my stuff, some told me, you know what? He told you that they're not sexually involved with each other. You need to ask him, are y'all sexually involved with each other? And I'm like, no, don't do that. Go home. I was like, no, do it. So I did it. I was like, hey, are y'all fucking? And I know I shouldn't ask that woman that because I don't know her from a can of paint, but I just wanted to know. I'm like, are y'all fucking? And she's like, excuse me, who are you? I'm like, girl, are you and him fucking? She's like, yeah. I was like, he didn't tell you that he has HPV? She holds her chest. I said, go get tested. Go get tested. Then that's when I grabbed my stuff. And that's when I went to go to the locker room and grab the rest of my things. And when I was leaving out the locker room, the girl follows me to the locker room to approach me to tell me. I was like, I'm sorry. I am so sorry for telling you that, and I'm sorry that I found you. And it's just with him, it's like, and she was like, you know, we're engaged, right? I said, excuse me, we're engaged to be married. I looked at her finger, she didn't have no ring. So, but all I heard was engaged. So all I saw was red. I moved swiftly past her, went to him, and I attacked him in the gym. I'm a fighter. He had.
But wait. What did your therapist say?
My therapist was like, "Job well done." She said, because I did what I did. That was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That was what I wanted to do. And she could, and we can't go back to the past. That was the action, but what did I learn from it?
Right. Did you get assault
What?
though? Did you get hit with an
No.
assault charge?
Oh
Okay.
no. Oh, it get worse. So then after that, I left, and the girl was by the vending machine. She was like, "Oh, what's going on?" I was like, "You just go get tested. Go get tested." Then as I was leaving the gym, I saw his car.
It's too much.
And I pulled up and I saw his BMW, and I went around and keyed the rest of his car. And then I keyed in, and then I went in and got into my car, and I left. And I told myself I was done. I was done. After that, he went online. He's put an hour and 22-minute and 55-second podcast online talking about me. And he kept calling his fiance the girl. Now, 3 months later, I recently just found out that he did tell the girl that he wanted to marry her.
Girl, but are you gonna drop the podcast? We just want to look. I want to be nosy. You want to email me? I understand, girl, but
I'll send it to you. I will send it to you in your DMs.
Okay, because I'm invested.
You can watch I will send you the video, but he did and I want you, and I'll probably DM you, and I ask you from what your perspective, what did you see? So then he did the podcast, and then I'm like, okay, I disappeared. So now fast forward, I found out that the girl he did propose to her, or he did tell her he wanted to marry her. The thing is, that was the night that I was in a car, and she kept blowing up his phone. So when he got home, that was what he had to tell her to keep her. I don't want her. I want you. You're the woman I want. I want to marry you. I marry you. I choose you.
It's a mess.
The thing is, when she confronted me in the gym, she didn't have no ring. So you want to know what the girl did? She bought her own ring. But she was raised to be a wife, right? I know not to buy my own ring. That's like proposing to a man.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Do you regret wasting so much time though?
I do. Well, no. No, I do not regret wasting any time. And the reason why is because he was my example of what not to get yourself caught up in. He was my example to wait. He was my example to find God. He was my example to find myself first and put myself first and not put another person before me. Like what I've heard women from this live and the last live, and I've grabbed pieces from each person. I'm like, man, we all went through the same thing. The same person. It was like the same person. But as women, the reason why we're here is because we stopped gatekeeping. We stopped telling each other. We stopped teaching each other. I'm a millennial. We learned everything on our own. Nobody was teaching us anything. Because the generation before us, what was it? Millennial, what is it?
No, Gen X and boomers.
Gen X was out getting money. They wasn't teaching us the game.
Nope, they was trying to be strong, independent women.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I had to learn everything on my own. And I was like, now I want to be the TT that's going to pass it over to the next young girl. I teach 7th grade, and I'm a certified sexologist. So I'm like, I have to think of how my future is going to be, and what kind of wife I want to be, what kind of mother I want to be, what kind of mentor I want to be to other women, because we are the people that's going to save our nation. It's the women.
Yeah. We can't leave it up to these men. You see how they'll girls crash and burn fast too.
And they scared to lead. And it's women running to these men just because they got a 6 figures. Come on. You got to love yourself more than somebody else's bag. But that's my TED Talk for today, Yoni. I love your looks. I love everything. But thank you so much for pouring into us all. We are here for each other. and we got to see it through. I'm not one of those women that's gonna. I mean, I tried dating out. I
Mm-hmm.
tried, but it's not for me. I still having hope, but whew, just pray for me.
Well, thank you, Jamie. I do appreciate you for coming up here sharing. But you got to send me that DM though,
Okay.
because I'm invested. I'm invested now.
All right. See you guys.
Bye. Thank you. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna just go right into the next caller because that one was a little bit longer. Okay, let me go.
Oh shoot.
522 beats.
Hi, my name is Clara. I apologize.
Ooh.
Um, I actually wrote down everything that I wanted to say.
Okay.
So basically, I live in Arizona, and
Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot of Black people. Like I would say, Black Americans. There's a lot of Nigerian, other
Mm.
African type of people that live here.
Okay.
I aged out of foster care, but I aged out of foster care as a 21-year-old. I'm still 21, so I'm 8 months free.
Okay.
Um, Basically, as dating lately, I I don't have any discrimination. I've never dated a Black guy before, so I don't know what it's like to date one. But that's
Mm-hmm.
also because they not looking for me. So I'm 100% okay with that.
Okay.
I just took myself out of the situationship, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been the funnest situationship I've ever had in my life. But the problem is that I deserve more. For
Mm.
me, I felt like I was a sugar mama in the relationship the entire time.
What
Now,
made you feel like a sugar mama?
because I was buying this guy lifts. I took him to concerts. I took him to little Tega concerts. Because me, I like to make music and make music videos. So in Arizona, those are the
Mm-hmm.
people that I associate with. So, I get into a lot of those places. Cheaper, free, whatever you want to call it, I'm in there. So I took him to concerts. I took him to everything. And, you know, it was like about a year and a half, and I asked him to take me on a picnic. And it's been 4 months. He still ain't took me on one. So, I've been listening to you and watching your YouTube channel, and like a lot of stuff that you talk about, like how to be a lady and those feminine things, I didn't learn. And I barely learned it with you. And so I wanted to thank you for
Oh.
giving me the opportunity to learn those things before
So
it
what
was
did
too
you
late for me.
learn?
For me, I learned that I don't have to talk in all these situations. I can just sit down and listen.
Mm.
Because if I didn't sit down and listen, I wouldn't have realized that this nigga never loved me.
Mm.
He just wanted to fuck me because I was Black.
Ooh.
And that's the thing. That's one thing that I learned, is that a lot of people that's outside of your race will only date you because you're Black. They don't look at the personality. They don't look at the
Well,
inside.
what was the
And,
red flag? Like what happened in conversation where you were listening, right?
mhm.
And you realized he didn't like you like that.
Um, like I told you, I asked him to take me on a picnic. It's been 4 months. Now I'm dating other people. He's still in my inbox bothering me today. Oh, now he texts me so much that it's like not even worth it to me anymore. Because
Mm-hmm.
before, when we were dating and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
I would be getting ghosted for weeks. I would get ghosted almost like every 2 weeks. I would only see him twice a month, consistently, only twice a month.
And this man is white.
No, he's Guatemalan. That's
Oh,
also what I want to tell you, is that a lot of basically you have to pay attention to the mindset of these guys, because
okay. Mm.
it's the mindset. It's not about the race in Arizona. I'm not saying everywhere
Ah.
else, but in Arizona, it's about the mindset. And a lot of these guys that I would go on dates with, they still live with their mama. Me as a person who grew up in foster care, they put me in an apartment when I was 16, and so I've been paying bills ever since then. No,
Mm.
so I'm 21 now. I got a work history and going to college again. Um, and I also realized that I needed to find someone that was in the level of my mind, like someone that was paying bills like I am. Because a lot of people my age and even older than me that are men still
Mhm.
live with their parents in this city.
So how old are
And
you?
I'm 21. I aged out of foster care this year. So it's like me, I had to pay rent from 17 till now. But when you're in foster care, they still have a case manager that stalks you every month to talk to you and see how you're doing. So that's what I was going through.
Okay, I'm sorry you had to go through all of
It
that.
ain't
That's
that bad. They paid me
what.
$700 a month after I turned 18, so I'm lit.
Do
Yeah,
you feel like the reason why you may have failed for something like that was because of your childhood?
yes, because no one taught me anything. Also, there was another point that I wrote down that I wanted to say is that
Mhm.
in foster care, they teach you about sex ed, but they teach you to fear men during that sex ed. So basically, they'd be like, don't date none of these people out here. All they got is STDs. That's basically what they taught me in foster care. So, that was the only thing I was looking out for is I don't want to you know, get sick. And so the one guy that I did pick, which was the Guatemalan guy,
Mhm.
basically treated me like a secret for a year and a half.
Dang.
He would do this thing where he would unfollow me on Instagram and then follow me back, and then he would unadd me on Snapchat and then and then add me back, and it was just I don't even know if he cheated or not, but I don't care because I'm not dealing with it. I'm not playing hide and go seek with these men anymore.
Mm.
I'm not playing
So
that game.
when it comes to your like overall learning experience, because you're 21 years old, you have so much more life to live. What would you tell girls your age?
I would tell them to keep their legs closed and to wear condoms every single time you meet someone. Well, not every time you meet someone, but if you want to open your legs, you need to wear condoms out here. What I
Mhm.
would also tell them is that a guy with a purpose is a better man to choose than one that does not. Like,
Mm.
I've been going on these dates lately, and I finally found a graphic designer. And, me, I love making music videos, and a graphic designer is a perfect addition to making music videos and stuff. And he hasn't asked me to fuck once. He, he holds my hand when we go outside. It's a lot of things that I've never experienced that this guy would experience with me. And then he would invite me to things.
Mhm.
The guy that I was with, the Guatemalan dude, he never invited me to shit. It was always me. Like I was being desperate the entire year. And that's also what I learned from your channel is what a desperate person was. And I had to cry a little bit because I was like, damn, it's really me I'm looking at, like when you were talking. But it's way better now because I don't have to beg anybody for their time anymore. One thing that I learned is that since I don't have my dad or my mother or stuff like
Mhm.
that, I would just be desperate for any attention. It didn't fucking matter. And I and I realized that being desperate takes away from the attention that you want. It doesn't give you anything. And so sitting down and being quiet and just watching gives me all the attention I want. And I can do my hair and I can love myself and I can go outside and wear my fro without not without people touching it, because of course that's gonna happen. This is Arizona. Like there's not a lot of black people to tell them no, you can't do that. But um
Girl, you can. You can tell them not to
I
touch your
do,
hair.
but they call the police when I do that. That's why I stopped. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd be screaming. It was bad. That's why I'm in therapy and I got anger management right now. But that's also something you didn't show me, but you were like, go to therapy, get stuff done. And I found me a black therapist that actually understands where I'm coming from. And she was
Mhm.
the one who helped me break up with this ain't shit ass nigga in the first place.
Well, I
So
love that for you. I know anger management is not easy. It's not.
it's
You
not,
have
but
a
it's
lot of reasons
working.
to be
Like there's a
mad.
lot of things that I learned. Like one thing that I learned is how to read people's emotions. Because one thing I didn't know was when people were mad at me, which is crazy because you people would think that people would know when they're mad at them, but I learned that this year. Like, and madness is not always yelling at people.
Mhm.
Madness could be like silence. And that's
Mhm.
one thing that a lot of people that I tried to date, that would happen. Like they would just give me the silent treatment and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
so instead of trying to badger them and badger them and badger them for their attention, I just sat my ass back. And now
Mm.
they come back to me. And it feels great.
And that silence, you are aware that when people try to do the whole silent treatment, that's manipulation, right?
Yeah, and I'm not dealing with that. You can kiss my ass goodbye. I'm
Right.
running. I'm a Gemini. You got me confused. I had to
Ooh, I
dig
love
deep into my
Gemini's. I
zodiac,
know y'all got a
okay?
bad rep, but I
Yeah, I
love
don't care
Gemini.
anymore. That's also one thing that I learned is that I do not care
I
about
love
what people
it.
think of Geminis anymore
I
because
love it.
Geminis leave when they deal with something that they didn't like. And
Right.
I'm not gonna sit around for stuff I didn't like anymore.
Mm. Well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy. It sounds like you
No,
get
you
into
gotta
that.
thank yourself for real because without you, I wouldn't have been here. I would be in jail right now.
Oh my God, girl. I'm really proud of you. I know you've had a rough start in life, so keep going.
My
Keep
adulthood is gonna be
going.
great. Like,
Yes.
I can't wait.
I love that.
Yeah,
Thank you so
that's
much for coming up here and sharing.
you're welcome. And I hope that any other foster adults, because I know they're not kids no more,
Right.
they listen to your channel or just look up some tips before they go out and start opening their legs to people because you don't want to open your legs to the wrong one. You can get sick.
So true. Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
You enjoy the rest of your day.
Goodbye.
Alrighty. Bye-bye. Okay. Is it Millie?
Hello, it's Malay.
Malay? Well, hello. I like that. And I like how short and sweet that is spelled. I love that. How
Thank
are
you,
you doing
ma'am.
today?
I am well. It's Friday. How are you?
Good. So do you have a story, advice?
Yes, I
Okay.
have. I always said, like my friends always told me, because I'm the friend that gives the advice. And I was
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna start my own channel because I got stuff to say. Y'all need to hear this. But I'm glad I'm able to do on somebody else's because I know that's too much work for me. But okay, so first let me just let you guys know what type of person I am so this could like make sense.
Okay.
Um, I've always been, well, I've actually found out a lot of new stuff about myself. Like I just found out I have ADHD like in October or November, which filled in a lot of blank spaces for me. um,
Yes.
but I'm very and energetically sensitive. And I didn't like have like a word for it, but just you know, like when you're around people, if they just don't have good energy, pure energy, it's just like you're just bothered, you're off, you can't feel comfortable, like, and then it's all on your face. And so I was that person, and so I was not popular in social settings. And I just thought something was wrong with me because nobody else was that way. Everybody else is just able to mix and mingle. Me, I'm over here
And you
like,
said you had ADHD?
yeah.
And did your therapist say that you were on the like autistic or
Oh,
autism
no.
spectrum?
I just found out because I had to do my own digging. You're actually part of the reason I found out, because when I found out you had it, like I didn't know too much on it. My one of my family members, he has it, but he's very hyperactive. Like he's like, when you think of ADHD and what it represents, you would think of him. So like nobody would ever suspect me of having it. They say females we tend to
We
mask
hide
very
it well.
early. Yeah.
We
So
hide
like
it very
mine is
well.
just like I was always aloof. And it's funny, I always
Mhm.
love that word aloof. But I was always the person to just be staring and to like just blankly ahead, just always
Yeah.
thinking. My mind is always going. I am very impulsive with my words. Like I've always thought smart ass mouth, and I always gotta come back, and yeah, that's me.
X. We always thinking. That's
Yes,
why that's
always my
yeah.
brain does not shut off.
Yeah.
So I and because of that ADHD, I'm always overthinking and overanalyzing. So when I kind of hit the dating realm when I was like a little comfortable, it was
Mhm.
like after I got out of high school. I lost my virginity after high school. Like what I saw my friends go through with boys and like all that stuff just turned me off. I was going through a lot a lot at home. Um and so that wasn't even on my mind. But when it did get there, now I'm a naturally curvy, vivacious woman, have always been, and the troubles that comes with. And
Girl.
so when I finally decided, to put myself out there when it comes to boys, because I've never been good with that. Like I'm 5, I've always been tall, been thick. So again, like you
Right.
specifically, what that is in your relationship with men when it comes to that. So when I finally did, at first it was like more so I just kind of wanted to lose my virginity because I just wanted to get it over. If I wanted to see, what's the hoopla that you guys are all, going on about. So I finally did it with somebody that I had like started to trust. Now, obviously, I knew he was trying to get with me because of sex, and so like that was postponed for a while because I just wasn't there at that time. Now, when I was, and then I found out, hey, I like this and I'm good at this, and so it became a F buddy situation,
Mhm.
and so not too long after that, I had my first relationship, and it was
Mhm.
literally a trial relationship. Again, I saw my friends go through stuff, and I was just like, "What's the hoopla? Like, what are we doing this for?" So I tried it for myself. Did everything by the book, how they were doing it. Some guy hit me up on Twitter, and sorry, some guy hit me up on Twitter, and he in my DMs talking. I'm just give him a chance. Just give him a chance. He's popping on Twitter, he's popping in the city, and he's wearing the Gucci belt, he's wearing the designer clothes, he's a
girl, not the Gucci belt.
Athlete, girl. Yes, because I had to experiment for myself.
But wait, you was in college though, right?
Yes, like
okay.
yeah,
Gucci belt in college, you doing a lot for a Gucci belt in college.
Oh yeah. And so again, this person was like, we were not compatible at all. I can't even remember like why I continued to talk to him, but I was just so intrigued by how do you guys get from this stage to the relationship stage to that toxic, I wanted to see how that went. And so yeah, that it didn't go well. Like I said, that's why I called it a trial relationship. I do not even consider that like a relationship. It lasted 3 months. That's like 3 months subscription right there. That's before you start paying. And I was just like, it ended literally with I just thought to myself, I was talking to my friend and I was just like, yeah, I really don't like him. Like I was like,
damn.
Like, why? I was like, yeah, I just can't keep doing this because he gaslit the hell out of me. He was a very toxic guy because he was that popular guy. So he's used to dealing with the popular girls and all the toxicity that comes with a Twitter couple, like back, 2016, 17. And so, and I'm not gonna lie, what gave me the edge to really like, okay, I'll date him is because he actually dated this girl that used to bully me. Like she was like the pretty girl. She used to bully me back in middle school.
So you trying to
so
get
when I
your
found out that he dated her, I was, me still unhealed. I was just like, oh, okay, like, well, like, not I took her man, but I was just like, oh yeah, like if I can get him, like, because I'm thinking, like, I'm not even thinking about him, it was about her. And so again, 3 months it took me to realize, like, I don't like this guy. He would always try to like accuse me of stuff. I know you talking to people and da da da. And if you know me, I don't know nobody and nobody know me. I just started dating.
We keep to ourselves. They don't understand, or we may be popular loners. They don't understand that. They think we in everybody's face.
If you said it about like some of my friends, I could understand that. But me, everybody that knew me, the few people that knew me were like, but nobody knows you. I don't go nowhere. I wasn't talking to nobody. I'm not heavy on social media. Like I was a loner going through stuff. So I obviously knew he was lying. And I still, again, within those 3 months kept going because I'm just like, it gotta get better at some point. Yeah, I'm not even going to tell you that whole story. It just was a mess. I just was like, yeah, this is not working. And he didn't take that well because it was a whole switch. It was just like a whole switch. Now I'm every name in a book and that you breaking up because you cheating, you effing other niggas. And then he tried to accuse me of giving him an STD like a week later. And like, oh, but I tell you, I cursed him out. I felt like somebody mom because I was like, don't you ever call my phone. Like with that BS. But like, yeah. And to this day, he still stalked me. Well, from somebody else's page or whatever, because it's just like, he just doesn't understand like why it wasn't working for me. And that's when I realized like, yeah, this relationship thing is not working. Like I have to really like the person, like to make it work. So from that point on, I was just situationing. It was just a situation thing. Like it was really like, if I needed some peen, I'll hit somebody up, but I was keeping to myself. So then
but do you feel like if you had to choose, because again, you were just in it for the sex. It doesn't seem like your feelings or emotions are really in this. But with everything that came with still dealing with him without your feelings and all of that being involved, do you feel like it was worth it?
Well, see, that's the thing. It wasn't sexual, like just sexual with him. I'm not, because it wasn't about the sex with him, or I would have been done.
Right.
No, it was. I was
so bad about the sex.
It just was. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. And again, I was just like, that's why it was so easy for me when I finally like was talking to myself and was like, girl, like stop playing. Like, there's nothing keeping you here. Like, this, not, you knew it was never it. Like he was arguing with me on my birthday. He accused me the first time of cheating on my birthday. On my birthday, child. And I was just like, this motherfucker got me like arguing on my birthday. Like, it was just, he was so messy and toxic. He always wanted to argue. And I was just like, why do you want to argue? Like, well, because you don't see, you act so despondent, like you don't care. And I'm just like again, he was just too much, especially for my first boyfriend. Oh, girl, that threw me the hell off. That's why.
And the sex wasn't good?
It was not. And he was at school. So like, he would come home, I would come see him. But it was just like, and it was also, he was the type, the energy was different, like over the phone and stuff. It was like over the top. And then when you get in person, it's just like, he was just very like, blah. And then again, always trying to gaslight me about something, trying to get something on me. I guess he didn't trust the fact that I was here by myself. and he was at school. Now, like, again, I could have been like, you a star football player, you could be out here cheating on me.
But most men who accuse you of doing that type of stuff is
Be
because
doing
they
it
are
themselves.
getting,
Yeah. So
yeah.
when yeah, exactly. So that's why when it got to that STD accusation, I was just like, oh, you were, because I know it wasn't me. Like,
Right.
he didn't even have any what's the word? He didn't even have any confirmation that it was that. He just said, oh, it burned when I peed. You must have gave me something. I said, did you go to the doctor? No, I said, get off the I said, get the hell off my phone. Call me back when you got some results. And then it's that. And then when he said, yeah, I don't got nothing, I just hung the hell up on him. Like, oh, okay. Because I like, what? Like, yeah, I don't get it. But yeah, that was my first trial relationship, and that's what turned me off from relationships, because I was just like, this is a mess, and that's all I saw people around me going through. So I was just like, this is not it. So then it was just, again, situationship, just about sex. So like my next situationships, they were just very, if the sex wasn't it, he was out. If he got on my nerves, he was out. Like, I was just very like, I wasn't taking no shit. If I didn't like you because you're only here for the sex, it was just like, I don't want to be around you. You out, get out. Like, I don't care. And guys tend to like that more anyway. Like, they love a bitch.
Oh, they do, girl. They love them. Oh my God.
And so my next couple like situationships, again, taught me some things, and I'm a quick learner, especially when it comes to like people, because I like to like, you learn about people, you learn about yourself, you learn about people. So like, I like knowing things. And so my next situationship like was very brief. I was talking to this guy. We like, when we finally like linked up and stuff, he was just so like obsessed, so like just very much love bombing, and it was just like, he was already calling me his girl, already telling his coworkers about me and stuff, calling me on the phone while I'm at work and stuff. Like, it was, again, too much. And I was just like, because I'm always known for quote unquote being mean and blunt and yada yada, so I was just like, well, maybe I just need to be nicer. So I gave it 2 days after we met up, because the day we met up, that's when he's just started drawing, and I was just like, this is getting weird. But those 2 days with 48 hours, I was like, yeah, that's not working. And I just ghosted, because I didn't think he was going to be sane enough for me to just be like, hey, this is going way too far. Like, why are you doing this? And because I'm too blunt of a person, people get their feelings hurt. I was just like, maybe I should just ghost him. Now I did I did actually apologize, because he wasn't like I don't know who he was, I should say, but what he presented to me, he wasn't a terrible person. He was a very nice guy, but it was just like, it was creepy how obsessed he got over me, like, and it just made me very uncomfortable. So I did apologize for the way I did it, but I was like, it still had to be done, and no, I don't want to be friends, like, So the next one, what was the next one? So the next one, he like was obsessed, but like in a different way. He was obsessed sexually with like my body. Like, he seemed cool, but then when we got in person again, he saw the body, then it was just like, oh my gosh, like, oh, you're so beautiful. Then like, he was just like, he always wanted to touch me. Like, he was just so, he was so extra. Again, me just trying to be nice and thinking it's me. Like, are guys always like this? And it was like, at first it was cute, like the attention, like, oh, okay, you like my body, that's cute. But then again, it just became like too much. I ended up getting a call, so I fall back from him. Like, I just like, he was just a number in my phone. I fall back from him. A week later, I get a call from this girl while I'm out with my friend, and she's like, I guess I'll call him I'll say Anthony. She's like, hi, do you know someone named Anthony? And I'm like, hello, who's this? Like, what? No, like, now I didn't know this person as Anthony. I knew them as Tony. I knew them as their nickname. So at first it didn't register, but then 2 seconds later, I was like, oh, so now I'm just like, who? Like, who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm his girl. Well, not his girl. Well, we still live together, and I saw your name in the phone, and da da da. So I was just like, she kept referencing these text messages, again, overly explicit text messages from him that I was just not responding to, because I was just like, again, this is too much. And so I was just like, well, what did I say? And she's like, what? It's like, well, he said this and that. I said, okay, so why are you not talking to him? Oh, well, da da da. Now I can tell already from this conversation that I'm the exact opposite of this girl. Like, completely exact opposite of this girl. And then it clicked. I was just like, oh, okay, so that's why he's overly obsessed with me, is because he got Minnie Mouse at home. And it's like, that don't got nothing to do with me. Because after that, I was just like, girl, you need to talk to him. I said, I don't know why you called my phone. And thing is, she probably was older than me because I was like 20 at the time. But I was just like, baby girl, like, I said, you gotta get your britches together. You need to talk to him. I said, we not even talking or nothing. What did you think was gonna happen when you called me? And she's like, well,
A lot of girls do
I
that.
just did it. And I was just like, okay. And I just like hung up on her. And I'm just like, okay, that's the end of that situation. Of course, he called me. He hits me up like nothing happened. Like nothing happened. He's just like, hey, what you doing? I'm just like looking at my friend like, is he what? You didn't even give me the chance to block you yet. Like, I said, sir, please don't play with me. Again, blocked, moved on to the next thing. So like those were my two like that's it just threw me off from men being overly obsessed with me, and I learned to like kind of peep that early on. So
What do you think was the obsession though?
I think the first one was more love bombing, and that was because I wasn't the first time been love bombed, but I think it was just guys like when they see, a woman they think is really attractive and they're like, oh, she a bad joint. I gotta, love bomb her so that she's attached to me and then I could just have her in the bag.
Right. And do whatever I want to do with her.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just to gain quick access because they just really believe that all girls believe in that, we meet for 24 hours and now we're engaged. And to me, it's just love bombing is just a test of boundaries because it's just like, I don't even barely remember your name, but you telling me you're in love with me. You don't even know me, sir.
You gotta understand that because someone in the chat said she sound proud these men not obsessed with you. Listen, you got to understand that men being obsessed with you is for their own selfish reasons. It's not the obsession is not what you think it is. It's not like, oh, I worship the ground that this woman walks on. Like, no, I'm obsessed with her for my own selfish reasons. But it is obsession, though. It's obsession. But
it's more like obsession with the challenge that you are more so than the person that you are.
Right. We talked about this on Patreon with the 7 different types of men who manipulate. Like the lover boy is definitely going to simp and obsess over you, but it's for his own selfish reasons because he likes the chase. That's it. He just likes the chase. So it happens a lot. Like I've had a lot of men obsessed, but you got to get out of your ego, okay, and realize he's obsessing because of his own selfish reasons. It's not because he loved me, he liked me, he really want me for me. Right. It's because he has his own like
and the thing I would let me explain to the ladies in the chat, ladies and gents in the chat. Because I always have to explain this to people. Like I think this is my ADHD, but like I get really excited when I'm talking about something, so I tend to get like louder and more like exclamatory, so that I could see how that sounds because I could be that person too. But let me tell you something about when I said that I'm a energetically sensitive person. The reason I kept saying like obsessed, oh, they're so obsessed and it was creepy and they're obsessed, is because that was the energy that they were given and it didn't feel right. It didn't feel pure. It didn't feel like, oh, this person is really like likes me and oh, it was woman. No, it felt very off. It felt like get out. Like so that's like why again I was able to get the heck out. There's a lot of women that kind of stay in those situations because they feel obligated to, because oh, you're giving me all this attention, you're giving me all this adoration, so I have to receive it.
Like and girls, they fantasize that obsession. Like they think it means something. It's romantic. And it's like, girl, no, the hell that's not. Somebody being obsessed with you is creepy. It's giving you. Right. Okay, Joe from you. It's not giving romance, honey. It's not. So
it's not. It's one thing when that's your man, but if it's just a random guy, it's not what y'all think it is.
But you gotta I don't know. I've had such a horrible experience with obsession where I wouldn't even want my man to be obsessed with me because men who tend to carry that type of characteristic or whatever the case may be, they become very controlling. So it's like when you're dealing with a man and you think of obsession, think of control. Like get the hell out.
Like, why are you not answering the phone? You going out wearing that? Or like, no, it's those type of men. No,
it's not what you think. Like it's the complete opposite of what society has made women believe. Like, yeah, you should want a guy obsessed with you. No, the hell you don't. That is your worst nightmare. I'm serious. Stalking vibes. No.
So, okay, yeah. So those are my situationships right up until, because I'm currently in a relationship that's lasted, this is going on the 5th year? Yeah. So I met my my boyfriend. He was originally a situationship. that was vastly different from the other ones. And it was actually at a time that my very first situationship, the one that I lost my virginity to, he like betrayed me in a way that's just completely unforgivable. So I was a little traumatized from that experience and letting people in, because I knew him for a while. So like when he did, we did, it was just like, it hurt me more because it was like, damn, like I thought you cared a little bit about me. Like you had to love me, but I just thought you cared enough for me as a person to, you know, not do what you did. Right. And so when I met my boyfriend, it was just like, it was just a chill. Now I'm not gonna say I was very attracted to my boyfriend when I first met him, because like he looks way better in person. So I was just like, okay, like tall, dark, and handsome. Okay, like I was just that. So we were we both smoked, so we were getting high together. I'm not gonna lie, I was really feeling him, like physically, but like his energy was just so calming. It was just so comfortable. Like, and I've never been around, like, it's very few people that I've been around that had that type of energy. So he really like intrigued me, but I was playing it cool. I was playing it cool. And he was feeling me, I was feeling him. And so like we did end up sleeping together. And honestly, I don't regret that. Like I regret sleeping with him on the first night, just because that's not something I would tell my younger self to do now. But I don't regret it because of how it turned out, because I love the hell out of him.
How long have you guys been together?
Going on 5 years.
Oh wow. See, that's what this is what I want women to understand. Love is risk. Like y'all got to stop thinking that it, like, social media has played women and men thinking that you follow this cookie cutter way of doing things. And she did the complete opposite. She had sex on the first night. She smoked with the man, and they've been in a relationship for 5 years. So it's like you just gotta like you gotta understand, like, if for you to get love and to receive it, you have to be willing to take risk. If you're not a risk taker, you don't need to date. You don't need to date at all. Don't do it.
But the thing I would say is that the only reason why our relationship ended up the way it did is because we both kind of kept consciousness of each other's like pace. And just like he was very patient. He didn't love bomb. He was just like, he let me set the tone for what I was comfortable with. And I mean, again, that's still, I'm with him, so that's still him. But he is just very like, he is that guy that, you know, he gets girls, so he doesn't have to worry about getting a girl. And he's a very like, very, what can I say? I don't like, he's a very comfortable person to be around, because he's going to let you be yourself. And because he's an observer, so he's just going to let you be yourself and then see where it goes. And that's something I had observed about him. And so like, again, made me interested in him. And so we actually, like, since that day, we hadn't spent but like 2 different times apart, because we saw each other like every weekend. And we would just hang out, we would just talk. And he was just, again, I'd never been so comfortable around somebody. And it wasn't like he didn't have any agenda. He wasn't trying to like get in some type of relationship, get in my crib, like, it was just like, okay, you want to be cool, we can be cool. Like, we both like a lot of similar things, we both smoke. So it was just, we got very comfortable with each other over time. And I was still entertaining other people because I was single. And I let him know that. I was just like, you know, like, I still talk to other people. This is just like, you know, we're just chilling, right? And he was just like, yeah. So we were always very communicative about where we were at. And so by the time that, like, I would say like 5 months in, I started like catching feelings. Like, and I never liked somebody like that before. So I was like very shocked when it came out of me. And it came out of me because he, what did he do? He was supposed to come over one night, whatever, and he got stuck in Jersey. So he didn't communicate that he would be coming late. So when I was like hitting up, he wasn't answering, but I called, his phone like was dead. So when he did like hit me up, he came over, he brought me like a bunch of food, and he was like, I'm sorry, da da da. But I forgot what question I asked him, but it was just like, well, why didn't you do this? And he hit me with the like, I don't know. And I'm not gonna lie, I snapped. I just like, all of a sudden I gripped him by his shirt and I was like, don't fucking play with me. Like, I don't remember what I asked him, but he gave me a very nonchalant answer. And I was very upset because, like, you wasting my time. Like, I thought you liked me and like, you respected me, but you over here not answering my calls. You supposed to come over. You're not, changing the plans or anything. Like, and now you just talking about something I don't know. So yeah, that's the day I realized I like him, when I gripped him up a little bit, and he's 6'5". Like, he's a huge guy. But I was just very I was so mad because I was just like, and I had to realize I'm so mad because I actually have feelings for this person and I feel like they played with me. And so then I wanted to take a step back and be like, this is not that type of situation, Malay. Like, you can't be catching feelings. This is just cool. But then I was like, okay, well, look at his behavior. Now all my friends are like, y'all basically together. He like you, da 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 da. Like, just every weekend we would see each other. But I was just, because of what I had been through, was just like, I'm not forcing nothing. Like, I'm gonna just see where this goes. By 6 months, that's when it was just, we were playing at that point, because it was like, okay, if we're not gonna make this official, then what are we doing? And so I had talked to him, and I was just like, I was nervous as hell, but I was just like, I really feel you. I know you really feel me. But I'm not here for the game. So either we're going to make this official or we're just going to end it here. Cause I don't want to be a friend. I'll be honest. Like, I don't.
And I have to be honest with you. In today's times, putting your hand on a man is I do not recommend that. Because
no, don't.
I really don't. I hope women are learning to keep their hands to themselves, because
I don't.
these men are hitting back. Okay. No. It's not like back in the day where they were not hitting back. They hitting back. So I would really keep your hands to yourself, because not every man out here nowadays is going to be kind enough. I have to be real with you. Kind enough, not nice, kind enough not to
definitely. You don't put
back.
your hands on people.
Yeah,
no, I'm very much somebody, I would never, I don't do that. Women hitting men hitting whipping, keep your hands to yourself. Yeah, that's why it was so out of character for me, because I was just like my mom, she's like, you did what? And I was like, it just was like, I just snapped for a second. Like, I don't know what the heck that happened.
I just have to say that, because we are on a large platform, and I know,
yes,
I don't know who's watching, but it's not okay to put your hands on somebody.
It's not okay. It's not cute. And that does not mean that, that was not a replication of, that was my feelings. That was me being still unhealed and unable to die down my impulsiveness.
But this is my last question for you real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
Is he talking marriage with you after 5 years?
Oh, the only reason we're not married is because I don't want to get married yet.
Oh, okay.
He was talking marriage month 8. He wanted to he was like, okay, well, when do you want to get married? And I was just like, oh, that's not for a while, because I still have things that I want to do. I'm still finding a lot about myself as a person. And when I get married, that's a
new Do you chapter. See marriage with him?
Yes. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to get too much into it, because it's a long story, but I'm on my own personal journey. I'm 25. So I'm young. Yeah, I'm very young. I just went through a lot at an early age. So yeah, mm-hmm. I'm 25. I got time, and it's just a more so where I want to be financially before I enter a legal contract with somebody. I love him, but it's still, at the end of the day, I need to have a checklist, and you need to make sure that the list is checked off. That's just how I am. Okay. But real quick, I would just say to the ladies, I would not recommend situationships, because they're and this is not to be rude, but they're not for the weak. And when I say weak, I mean, unless you're able to constantly evolve your mindset to fit that situationship, not treat every situationship the same, because they're definitely not. Mm-hmm. But you have to always put yourself first and be ready to leave at an instant. You that whole catch, and you have to be able to have the hard conversations, to be blunt. Again, I put myself out there, and my heart was beating fast when I was trying to figure out are we going to be in a relationship, or is this it? And I was invested, but we had to have that conversation. And if we didn't, it could have just carried on, because he was worried about keeping my pace, and I wasn't being upfront with what I wanted. And so it's just if you're not at that point where you can be 100% honest with yourself and honest with other people comfortably, I just wouldn't do situationships, because they end up so messy, because it's all this assumption. There's always, I assume he likes me. I assume she likes me. well, I assume we're this because he does all these things for me. And then, you know, when you finally ask him, it's just like, oh no, we just friends. And so like you could have skipped all that with the, okay, what's your intentions? What's going on here? Like any second, as soon as you start to have that feeling, just ask it. And if you don't think that you're able to ask it, you should not be in those type of situations, because that means you're not able to detach yourself at that moment.
Right. That's so true. That's so true. Hopefully the girls are listening. The only advice that I would give you, because I am older than you, is
You are older than me.
if you do not see a future with this man, I would not waste my time with him. I wouldn't waste my youth. I wouldn't worry about a checklist. Like, I would be single and I would date and I would leave my options open, because if you really don't see marriage with the man, like you don't see it, it's because you don't see him as marriage material.
No, I wasn't saying. I see. It's so hard to like give one little blimp of my life. No, when I very much want to marry this man. Like, I am, like, that's my best friend. That is my confidant. Like, we have a very healthy relationship because like we're always evolving, always communicating. It's just that like I'm 25. I don't need to be married at this time, but I have things that I want to prepare myself for that chapter, because I don't think I'm ready to be a wife. It's like, it's not even about him. It's just being in a relationships are hard.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Let that man go. Let that man be free. Because if you're not ready to be a wife, it's the same. If the roles were reversed and say you were a man,
right,
and you kept a woman in a relationship, right? And the man knew he wasn't ready to be a husband, and that man told you at 8 months that he was ready to marry you, you being selfish. That's me being real with you. That's me being 1,000% real with you. So reverse the roles, change the gender.
I'm not ready to be. Damn.
I'm
sorry. This is just so like, sometimes when I talk, because I don't get all these thoughts
I'm just
out.
saying, I just feel like that would be fair, because even if a woman was in the same position he was in, we would be dragging this man to filth. You know what I mean? So like, if you reverse the roles and you truly don't want to be married, that man wanted to marry you at 8 months, let that man be free. Let him be free.
Okay.
Let yourself be free too, because it goes both ways.
Okay, so how can I put this?
It doesn't make you a bad person because you're 25. That's
no,
the thing.
I don't think I'm a no. I'm just trying to get out what I need to get out, enough information in a little bit of time, so that like I can see how this is coming off, because again, I'm not saying everything that would need to be said for this story to make sense. But
I get that too.
He like, we're not married because I like, how can this, okay, I just don't feel that, and he agrees, that's why we're still like together, because like we have our own stipulations for if, you know, things were off. If he was very much like, you know, I want to get married and you don't want to get married, so like I would have to respect that, because I'm very much about honesty and just being true to yourself and to your partner. But just the reason that we're not married is because we're not where we want to be for when we get married, because after
it's just 5 years is a very long time, and that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes
it's a long time, but at the end of the day, like marriage wouldn't change our relationship. So that's why it's not a like I have to get married right now, because one, I know it's going to happen. It's just I want certain things to be aligned, so when I'm married, I don't have to still like, how can I say this? Like, I'm still figuring stuff out about me, but it's about me in a relationship.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. And this is me saying it respectfully. Okay. I'm not coming for nobody. I'm just saying this. This is me being an outsider listening to you, right? Our parents built together because they wanted to be together. They didn't like millennials and some Gen Xers. They feel like they have to have this perfect setup, and there's no such thing as that. You choose to do life with a person, and you choose to grow with that person, and that's it. There's no magic time. There's no magic picture. Like, You choose that person, you guys choose each other, you submit to one another, you're in a partnership with that person, and you're willing to work and grow with that person. There's no perfect marriage, there's no perfect relationship, like there's no perfect time. Like there's a lot of girls that are in long-term relationships waiting for this perfect thing, and it's like it's never going to come. You either want to do it with that person or you don't.
Right.
And it doesn't get any realer than that. And yes, it's scary because it's like, the hell am I gonna do? But maybe that's what you need to look for, is maybe you need to explore.
Again, this I don't understand. Okay, this is just another situation where I don't know how I'm coming off to get the response I'm getting, because it's like, if anybody who, like, I mean, the very few people, but anybody who knew me, like, hear this, they just be like, oh no, like again, it's just hard to, like, I guess, explain our relationship. But like,
I know every relationship is unique and different and it has its own timing. But I'm just, based off of what you're saying, like you just don't want to feel like, are you growing? If this is my next question then, because maybe I'm not understanding. Do you feel like you're growing in this relationship?
Oh yeah, definitely.
How are you growing in the relationship?
I mean, well, when we first got together, besides that trial relationship, this was like my first one. So I grew because I started to see things in myself that I had subconsciously learned, like, from people in my family, as far as like responses to certain things or behaviors. I learned more about him, and again, how he responds to certain things. And because, like, the longer we've been together, the more, there's a lot of life to go through. So us at 8 months and us here now, like, we're stronger now. But like, us at 8 months was just very, like, it seems like very fairy tale like, because I did feel love for him then, but I feel like I know him so much differently now. So it's like, it's a different type of, like, love and fondness for him.
But do you feel like you've grown as a woman though in this relationship?
Yeah, because I used to think that, if, like, for speaking on, like, my assertiveness, my bluntness, my very directness when it comes to talking with people, there were a lot of things, and again, can't go too much detail, but like, I've been constantly evolving since probably high school. Like, I've always gone through a stage of involvement where things would happen and I would either learn from them or I didn't, and that thing would, continue on to repeat, or I would move on to the next stage. And being in a relationship with him, it taught me that I was an affectionate person, because I always thought I just wasn't, like, I didn't like the touching and the kissing and all that stuff. But when you have somebody that, you can be 100% comfortable with, and they share that same fondness for you, it's very easy. It's like breathing. And so I learned that about myself. I learned like, how I learned where my boundaries were, because we can think, or I can think, that we can set certain boundaries, but when you love somebody, you'll always be, a little willing to move them, and you have to kind of reteach yourself, okay, how do you establish boundaries? And your boundaries can always move. Mine have constantly, like, moved, and not necessarily moved back, but the stronger I've gotten as a person and more confident as my, in myself and my intuition, the tighter my boundaries have become with certain things.
So you feel like in your personal growth, you've created better boundaries?
Yeah.
You feel like you're a better listener?
I'm definitely a better listener, because I am somebody who would just, like, keep going and going and going. And that was one of the things I actually learned that I had got from my mom, because a lot of, like, when we would talk about things, we have a different way of responding. Like, I'm very, I'm going to come, confront the situation. I just want to get, it out the way, get to the bottom of it and move on. And he's like the type, like most guys, like, they'll kind of silently dwell. And then, it's their mood and stuff that you notice. So, like, we're, like, different in that way. And so learning how to deal with that without it, like, completely changing with me, but learning, I got to compromise in those things. And no, I'm not always right. And I was seeing things that I didn't know I was necessarily being toxic, but it could have gotten toxic if I continued, that mindset. And, learning that it's not against you two, it's against the problem. Like, there were a lot of things. Oh, my voice sound like this. There were a lot of lessons that I learned in a relationship, and a lot of ways that I grew, just even like just even listening to you and Cynthia G. Like I'm dating a black man, but like when I tell you that black male worship went out the window, I learned that about myself. And so
It's
like I
all
love.
about balance, though. It's all about balance. But if you feel like you're growing in this relationship, I can't like look at your relationship negatively, because again, you're 25 years old. You have made it known, and you've told them that you're not ready for marriage. So I'm just gonna assume that it's because you need to work more on yourself. But the reason why I'm asking is because, is the relationship truly giving you the space to do that? If it's not, then that's when I would try to go into more of a deep reflection mode and think like, is this really helping me though? Because that's what I'm saying. It's great when you're in a relationship, but if you're not developing and doing the personal work on yourself, you're stagnant. That's why I was asking about personal growth while in the relationship. But if you feel like you're going in the relationship,
I mean, it's not even just the like I'm growing. It's because again, I listen to you. So like I agree with like probably 99% of the things that you do discuss. And so listening to your talking points specifically about that, like made me have conversations about him. Also just be more open about what's going on in my head, because I'm always in my head. And, you know, you can respond to certain things. And at the end of the day, if you're not letting somebody know like what space you're in, you know, they can take it a certain way. So we just like, our relationship just became a very safe place to learn and to grow with each other. And I mean, like that's my baby, that's my best friend. Like it's just like I just didn't want to, like, when I get married, because I was still again learning stuff about myself that I didn't even know I still needed to learn. And once I learned that, like again, me just learning I had ADHD a couple months ago, like that just completely changed my life. So it made me more excited to keep pushing. And what else can I find out about myself to make myself a better, more whole person? And, you know, also encourage that in him. And child, I didn't got a new job. I didn't got a new apartment. I'm like, my hair is growing. My skin is clear. I'm in the gym. Like
those are all great signs. They are great signs.
I'm like on this high of, well, this delusion of it's all working out for me. So like marriage like was off because not marriage was off, but it was more so, okay, it has to feel right and we have to feel right and we want to be in a happy space. And again, the apartment that we were in, the jobs that we were in, we were happy with each other, but we weren't in a happy space individually. So once we got there, the picture looked clearer, it felt better. And now we're moving on to like the next stage. And so it's just like now it's not a thing of like, oh, I'm still waiting. It's just now I'm just listening to my intuition of when it is going to be the right time. Like whenever it feels right, it's just going to feel right, because that's how I've been living life, and it's been working for me. You know, the world's been going to hell and I've been on a high. I've been feeling great. Like these last couple months have been like just great for me, and everything's going to shit. So like I'm just going to keep going with it.
Okay. I mean, I just wanted to make sure. Is it Malay? It's Malay,
Yeah.
right? Okay. I just wanted to make sure, like I just have to check on my girls.
Oh no,
I
I
know
appreciate that.
sometimes
That was
we
very
are in
honest.
the thick of things and we may be clouded, but I mean, I get that. Like time, it has to feel right. I'm a feeler. I'm a sensor. So if it don't feel right, it's probably for a reason. And we're all on different timelines. We're all trying to grow. We're all trying to figure out who we are and where we're going, what we're doing. So I completely understand. But thank you so much for coming up here and sharing. And hopefully, just your conversation alone helps somebody. So thank you.
Thank you, Yoni. You guys have a great night.
You too. Thank you. Okay. Before I bring up my next guest, y'all got to be nicer in the chat, you guys. You got to understand that my channel is a wide range. It's both men and women. It's different ages, different mindsets, different lifestyles, different choices. And I respect everybody. Like I have respect for everybody. Why? You're a human being. So because of that, I leave room for women to be at a place that maybe I wouldn't want to be in, but I also understand that that's her journey. That's her journey. That's her purpose. That's her walk. It don't got nothing to do with me. So I'm not going to shame her. I'm not going to put her down. I'm not going to do any of that, because the only thing I can truly do is inspire or encourage the woman to figure it out, whatever that is. But I can't tell her what that looks like. It's her life. I don't know what she's going through. Like, we just had a foster girl on here earlier, you know, and just some of the experiences that she's going through. She's on a totally different journey than me. So it's just like, you got to give grace to people that are trying to figure it out. And I said people, that means both men and women. It's just, don't tolerate disrespect from nobody. That's it. That's all you can do. Have your boundaries, have self-discipline, know who you are, and or if you don't know who you are, discover who you are, love who you are, and know your worth. That's all you can do. But you can't keep like judging people because they're not where you are. And if you're starting to do the work on yourself, well, of course you're going to elevate because you're doing the work on yourself. But the next girl, she may be doing the work on herself, but her pace is not where your pace is. Or maybe she started later than you. You got to give room for ladies to grow. Like, it's so important. That's where sisterhood really lies. But if you're going to come at her sideways because she's not doing what you want her to do, she's not doing it in the way that you want her to do it, I mean, you're basically shaming her and you're not ushering her to, or even being honest with her. Because again, I'm an honest person. I don't sit up here and coddle y'all. I don't. So you got to understand, like, there's honesty, but then there's also compassion. And that's what's missing today. The lack of compassion. You can be honest, you can be blunt, but you can be respectful. You can be honest, you can be blunt, but do it from love, compassion. Be honest about it, right? But you don't have to just attack them and insult them and beat them down. And I see that a lot in the Black community. You're not helping, you're making it worse. And this is why people don't go to you. This is why people come to me for a lot. And my secret to people coming to me, family, friends, and sometimes it's a blessing and a curse, right? Is because I leave room for them to truly be vulnerable with me. Why? Because I'm that safe zone and they know that. So people come to me and they open up to me and I don't beat them down. I don't. You know what I do? I sit back and I listen and see what I can learn through them sometimes, because you can learn through other people, but give them some grace. Like, listen, I told y'all this the last time. The pandemic happened and none of us had the answers for that. We still don't have the answers because the world is on fire. America is collapsing. I don't know if you guys have noticed. So it's like, I don't even know what to tell people anymore because I'm just like, girl, I don't know. I don't know if you should have kids or not. I don't know if you should get married. I don't know if you should move out of the country, girl. I don't know I don't have the answers. All I know is we're all here trying to figure it out. And we just need to be here for one another at the end of the day. That's it. That's all I have for you. I don't have nothing else. That is it. I used to think I had it, and I'm like, I don't. And I'm not afraid to admit that, because when something hits the fan and then people looking at you like, I'm gonna be like, girl, I don't know. You need to go ask somebody else, you know. So we just, perspective is everything, though. I believe in that. Perspective is everything. But having the answer and being so concrete about it, I mean, in today's society is insane because there's just so much going on. I mean, we got chemical spills going on. We got racism, Jim Crow laws being reinstated. Trump, the first president in the United States of America, is basically facing federal charges. It's like, I don't have the answer, y'all. I'm sorry. And to the people that do, listen, come up here and tell me what you got the answer about, because I don't know no more. Like, I really don't. So all I can do is sit here, create a space for people to be vulnerable and to be honest. And if they ask me for my honest opinion, I'm gonna give it to them respectfully. But I mean, at the end of the day, you guys, like I said, do you even know what the world is going to look like a year from now? I don't. I don't. Will we be able to use cash 1 year from today? I don't know. So it's really that simple. I'm going to bring the next caller on. I'm going to try to get through all the women that are already up here, but I'm just not going to take any more people. Okay. So if you're already up here, you're waiting, I'm going to try to get to you. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? How do you pronounce your name?
It's Shakiria.
Shakiria, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So, what would you like to add to today's discussion?
So I would like to. I just got out of a, I guess, situationship. I decided to cut him off.
Okay.
Um, he's a detective, and
Oh,
I'm
cool.
in the healthcare industry. So, we've been going back and forth for 3 years, and my thing to try to get over him because he wasn't jumping in a relationship with me as fast as I would like him
Mm-hmm.
to start dating someone else, and then I would get into a relationship with someone else. But as soon as that relationship ended, I would go straight back to him and see what he got going on and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying not to get emotional because like hmm, I'm seriously like in love with this person, and like
Mm-hmm.
to cut him off like really hurt me. So it's funny because so I have my iPhone, my MacBook, and my Apple Watch. I blocked him on my phone, made
Mm-hmm.
sure that it connected with my MacBook. Forgot to do it with my watch. So his tendency is we'll talk and he'll come around for a day. Then I won't see him for like months or hear from him for months. So I got tired of that going on for 3 years.
That's
So
fun.
I decided to finally let him go. And then he messaged me and came through on my watch. So they got me in my feelings, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to call him so bad, but I'm like, no, stay strong. Do not call him. Leave him alone because he keep doing the same thing to me. Where we'll talk, he'd be like, I'm gonna be with you, and you keep telling me we're gonna get married, we'll have kids. Because I'm 35 with no kids, so I'm kind of like in that desperation for
Mm-hmm.
right now, especially because my parents. I'm the only person that can give my parents grand.
Grandchild.
So they're really looking at me like, yo, where's my grandbabies? And I'm like, well, I can't find the right guy, so it's gonna be a minute. um, but so I said all that to say, I'm just struggling to get over this person, and his thing is he keeps saying that he just waiting for everything to be perfect. And I'm like, I don't need things to be perfect. I just need us to be together, and I don't understand why he don't get that. So I guess all that is to say to women is like don't fall in love with potential and this dream that you make up in your head, because I have a tendency to do that as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself a hopeless romantic, so I fall in love easily. Um, so um, just don't be. Sorry, I'm starting to get a little nervous and emotional, so now I'm just
Okay.
place.
It's okay. But was that all you wanted to add?
Damn.
I'm sorry. You.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Yes. Now we can.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just I like to talk about this. I'm in therapy as well, so about a lot of other things that happened in my life. Because I was married before and everything, so
Hmm.
I just I try to talk about this as part of helping me to heal, and I guess get other people takes on this. So
Do you feel
yeah.
like this is helping this live?
Yeah, because the funny thing is, I was just about to pick up my phone and call him when this notification came up.
Girl, these type of lives, y'all don't understand. To the ladies that are in chat, these lives, they doing a lot of work. And I'm a very spiritual person. So the amount of women that have came forward after these lives has been insane. Like, I did not know that this was needed. I had no idea. Like, I may do a third one, to be honest, because I had no idea. And a lot of women have either just got out of one and they are like really struggling, or they're more seasoned girls that have done the cutoff, the no contact, and so they're in a better place now. So we're like all at different stages, I'm noticing. So it's all helping people in different ways. And then there are some girls that are still in the situationships or sneakily relationships or whatever like that have just recently done the cutoff due to these lives. So I appreciate you for coming up here and being brave enough to share your story with it being so recent. I do appreciate that.
Thank you. It's been 2 weeks, and I also, right before this notification came up, I just saw your short about cut off or what's the other ghosting and cutting off. I just saw that as well right before this notification came up. And like I saw someone in the chat just say I have an issue with people walking out of my life. Like, she's totally correct, because I'm a late bloomer as well. So I recently just went through a terrible friendship. A girl that I thought was my friend, I just found out that she never considered me one. So she just ghosted me and didn't want to have a conversation. So it's like, a lot of people just keep leaving me, and I'm just tired of it. And it's like, because I'm always showing up for people, but they just leave me hanging. And I thought this guy was gonna be it for me, because we're both close to our dads, but we're not close to our moms. We both have no kids, and he's a detective. I kind of work in pharmaceuticals, and but now I'm in information technology. So it's like, I just thought he was gonna be it, and now that he's not, it's like, it's killing me.
Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from, because when you thought that something was going to go a certain way and then it doesn't, I definitely understand where you're coming from. And I'm sorry you have to go through this. I will give you some advice, because I was exactly where you were at one point. And really, the lesson is to love yourself more.
Right.
To love yourself more. To love yourself more than what you thought your life was going to be. To love yourself more than the future that you thought you had for yourself. To love yourself more than the person who does not know how to love you in the way that you need correctly. It's always going to be about loving yourself more. And then also with the abandonment that you're experiencing right now with the friend, understanding that hurt people, and just because you're a kind person at heart, that doesn't mean that other people are going to love you in the way that you love others. And so again, never forget the fact that you can love yourself in the way that you need, and you don't have to depend on a friend. You don't have to depend on a man. Take that love that you want to give to these people and give it back to yourself. And when you start to do that, you'll start to glow from the inside out. You will. And people may be asking you, what man you talking to? What man, who got you glowing like that? And you can be like, myself, because the love that I wanted to give to a man, I can't give him that because he didn't want it. The love I wanted to give to that friend, I can't give her that because she didn't want it. So all the love that I've been wanting to give to others, I have decided to give to myself until the right people come into my life where they reciprocate, and then I can give my love that way.
Yeah, I will make sure. That's what I've been doing, trying to focus on my stuff. I'm in love with my job. I only been on my job for like a little bit over a year. The job has inspired me to get back into school, so I got back into school to get a bachelor's, so I could move up in my company. So that's what I've been doing now to keep myself busy and focus on my future.
Yeah, I think that will definitely help. That would definitely help. Staying busy is going to help. Okay.
Yeah.
Staying off social media too, if that's, not social media, but like just doing things that would make you feel the urge to reach out, I don't know what that may be. Like staying away from certain restaurants, or staying away from certain foods, getting rid of their clothes, like make sure you doing all that, sweeping out, getting rid of all that old energy so you can welcome in something new. Okay.
Yep. That's the plan. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. I'm so excited for you though.
Thank you. I'm so happy I found your channel. You have been a blessing, and I appreciate you and
Thank
everybody in the
you.
chat. You guys are awesome. You all have a great day.
You too. You too. Okay, Kim, you are up next. Kim, are you still there? Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, I'm gonna move on to Ray. Ray, are you there?
Hello? Hello?
Hi, how
Hello?
are you doing?
Oh, sorry. My mic got really loud all of a sudden and you were just like right in my ear. My bad. Whew.
You're fine.
I'm doing okay. How,
That's
yeah,
good.
I'm doing okay. Um, I guess like my story is a little different. It wasn't me, but it like so deeply affected this person's situation so deeply affected like situationships deeply affected
Mhm.
my life to the point where like it scared me out of one before I got into one, if
Oh,
that makes
wow.
sense.
So did you learn this through someone else?
No, it was my friend.
Oh, it was your okay. So you learned it through someone else, your friend.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
and like it basically kind of launched me onto my healing journey
Okay.
because everything ended up so bad. So I had a friend, obviously I won't share her real name, but like for the sake of it, I'll call her Amy. And Amy and I had, you know, we had been cool for years up until this point. And she got into her very first situationship
Okay.
with someone who was involved with her close friend. And,
Oh.
this girl, Jay, had recently gotten her a job. So Jay went on her way, got her a job, was like, hey, I am in this situationship with this man who works at this job. And, you know, while we are open and we're messing with, like, he's messing with other people because I'm allowing this, you are
Mhm.
my friend, like, we're really close. I don't want you to get involved with him. She said this to him and she said it to Amy. Amy tells me, and she's like, oh my gosh, this guy's so disgusting. He's sleeping with everybody at work. Like, I don't understand why my friend is with this guy. And, I'm very receptive to it. I'm like, wow, I understand. Like, it is kind of weird that she would be with someone who's sleeping around so much. Like, she could catch something bad could go down at work. Everybody's messing around at work. Like, that's messy. And, I watched, and Amy kept bringing him up into conversation. She'd be like, oh, well, this man, that, and this man, that. And it got to the point where it became increasingly clear that she was very interested in him
Mm.
because he was very interested in her. He was going out of his way to flirt with her at work. And I'm like, okay, well, tell Jay about it, Amy. Like, let her know. This is a boundary she set for him in their situationship. You should let him know. I mean, let her know. And she's like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to like mess anything up with them. And to make a long story short,
Mhm.
Amy fell in love with him. I was shocked. I was confused. And this was the biggest red flag for both her and me. It should have been like a dinger, like, oh, ooh, ooh, get this girl out of your life. She literally said to me, I like him because I don't think he'll be good for me. And I wasn't paying attention. Like,
Science.
I, I, I wasn't paying attention. And it was a roller coaster for years to come because of that, like one moment, but both me and her were just not paying attention. So, she continues to talk to him behind her friend's back. I become increasingly vocal about my disapproval. Mistake number one, like I was like, looking back, I was like, I should have nipped it in the bud there. If it was really such a problem for me,
Right.
then I should have removed myself from this equation altogether. But, I was young and stupid at the time. I think this first started when we were teenagers when this started, but it has had repercussions for the years.
Right.
Like
Right.
that's how bad it ended up being. So what ends up happening is she falls in love with him. She starts talking to him behind Jay's back. This is all happening at their workplace. I'm watching it go down in real time. And it gets to the point where she helps him confront Jay and tell her that she needs to let him go.
She confronts him to let Jay know. That's messy. That's on the job.
Yes, like three-way call was like, oh, he's telling me that,
This is
you
in
have
high
mental
school.
issues and, he knows about them. I was like, mental issues. Mind you, at the time, she'd known this guy for less than 2 months.
Oh, that's crazy. They
She'd known
always
this
try
girl
to make
for
it seem like the girl's
years.
crazy.
Yes.
That
And
is
that came back
amazing.
to bite her in the butt. It did. It came back to bite her in the butt. But that happened later. But she basically destroyed her friendship with this girl. The girl ended up going through this like really sad time in her life. And even after that, for a brief period, he chose Jay over her and then wanted comfort from me and another friend.
Oh, that's
I was
crazy.
like, wow. Then the next day, he was like, oh, forget what I said. I choose you. I choose you. And so that's how their like situationship like evolved into, I guess, kind of a relationship. But he wouldn't let her tell anybody at work.
A triangulation? That's what it's giving.
I was like, later I thought about it and I was like, he was probably still messing with people at work
Girl,
if he
yes.
didn't want you to tell her. And I told her that. I was like,
Oh my
so
goodness.
you're telling me you met him like this and you think he's going to change for you and you're a virgin? You think he's going to give up, all you know what I mean. I don't want to say it, but all
Right.
his
Mm-hmm.
HOES. Like he's not going
Harlem
to
of
do
women.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess it really was.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to the point where I just was out here, and I was like, everything that was a red flag, I picked up on
Mm-hmm.
about their situation, how it evolved, like things he was telling her, and I'm like, this is not good. This doesn't feel like a real relationship. Like this isn't healthy. And she, told me that I was just being this unsupportive friend.
Well,
And
why?
so
Well,
we
what?
weren't friends
This is
for.
my question, Ray. Why she make you the counselor of her problems, though? Did you get paid?
No, I was stupid. I I was young and I
I
was
don't think you were
stupid
stupid. I think
and
you were being a genuine friend that was caring about your friend, But it's just like I just don't like it how they put you in that position as a friend to be this counselor, and then they switch up on you because of the guy, and then the guy is trash. But they want to turn up on you, but they don't even want to turn up on the man that's doing them in. You just being a real friend, and this is my thing when it comes to girls, ladies. Why do you want to turn up on the friend, but then you don't want to turn up on the man that's actually doing you wrong? Like, that's what I don't get about women today. Like, the man is actually doing you wrong, but you want to turn up on the friend and basically project and be passive aggressive towards her because she's right and she's right. But you don't want to leave this man. So if you don't want to leave this man, just say that. That's all you gotta say. It's just say, I don't want to leave. Okay, cool. And I'm about to set this boundary, Ray. Just a lesson in itself. I'm gonna set this boundary with you. If you're gonna stay with this man,
right.
it's gonna be toxic. Don't involve me. Call somebody else. And if they don't want to be friends with you after the fact, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yes. I had to learn that the hard way because
Mm,
it is true. Like, I realized later when, well, basically what ended up happening was we weren't friends for maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years after that, because of her being in that relationship and because I wasn't going to be like, hey, don't come to me. I told her, don't come to me to talk about him because this is how I'm going to tell you that I feel about that. I had set that boundary for
mm.
myself. And, you know, we didn't talk for like 2 years. And then we came into a situation where, it's not related to the story that like made us talk again. And from that, like she was out of that relationship, but it had left her with so much trauma
Oh
that
yeah.
she entered a string of other situationships. And I thought I had evolved and I thought she had evolved to the point where we could get past uh, me being involved. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but we had ended up living together at this point where I was like, hey, this is my boundary. Like we live together, but let's not talk about this.
Right, right,
Like,
right.
I don't want to be involved. I don't want to because it's really hard for me. And you don't care like, you're not going to care what I have to say anyway. Let's be honest about that. This is something that we don't need to, doesn't need to be a part of a relationship. It did not end up going well because once again, I realized that I was being hypocritical in that moment as well, because I was telling her, hey, set these boundaries with your relationships and hold to them. But I didn't do that for myself in our relationship. And so her situationships always ended up bleeding into my life. I'm coming home and, you know, she's crying, she's a wreck, she's calling up the first ex, checking on his situationship. She's in her new situationship. She's getting pregnant, bringing me into it, you know, and basically, like, I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to take up someone else's time. But everything was so much that like, I had been on Bumble for a hot minute. And I was like, oh, you know, I don't need a relationship. I could just be casual with someone. But it scared me so bad off of that, because I realized, I was like, you know, she doesn't love herself enough not to put herself in this position. And I saw that reflected in me in my relationship with her. I was like, you know, I must not love myself enough to not be sticking to my boundaries with her.
Right.
Like, to be letting this, like, you know, disturb my peace. And I had to, like, get out of that mindset. I had to be like, okay, you know, I can't make her do anything she doesn't want to do. And I also can't be a shoulder for her to cry on when it is stressing me out and affecting how I view relationships. I can't do that to myself. I need to remove myself. But I also have some healing to do if I was allowing this to happen in the first place.
Right. So what do you tell girls that are in a similar friendship like this, where the girl, your friend, is in a situationship or sneaky link, it's toxic, they come to you? What advice would you give them, Ray?
Kind of one of the things I told her, which is, hey, like, when you're in this type of relationship, you either have to put up or shut up. Like, you either have to walk away from this and be like, hey, here are my boundaries. If you do not follow these boundaries, then I don't think I can have a relationship with you in any capacity. Or, like, you just need to shut up and listen.
Yeah, you're saying like there's no middle ground. Like, it's either you're all or nothing, because the nature of this dynamic is basically the friend wants you to be that type of friend, and they're not willing to respect your boundary while doing it. And so it's either you're going to stay because you're loyal, or you're going to leave because you're more loyal to yourself. And if I'm being completely honest, ladies, you have to always be more loyal to yourself. If you don't have any kids, you don't have a dependent, you always have to be more loyal to yourself. There's no such thing as being more loyal to those who are not loyal in the same way to you. So if your friend is not wanting to respect your boundary, and she doesn't respect the fact that every time she comes to you with her negative relationship issues and how it affects your mental health, how it drains your energy energetically, to where it keeps you from accomplishing your goals, it keeps you from going to the gym and doing things that you need to do, like self-care and things like that for yourself, she got to go, because you're supposed to always have more loyal for yourself. And no, it's not selfish. It's self-love. That's what that is. So she either can respect you, or she can get lost. Or if you trying to be loyal, listen, shut up and listen to that girl every time she comes to you with her problems. You know, like, damn, it's really that simple.
Yeah, I really had to learn that. Oh, and to clarify, I just saw this comment. Yeah, at the point she had left the first toxic situationship that turned into a relationship when we were planning to move in together. Like, she was single, she was going to therapy, you know, she was doing all that work. So at the time, I had thought, oh, she has removed herself from this. Like, we are entering this new, you know, era of her life where she, like, is not going to need that shoulder. So I thought, hey, you know, she's on her healing journey. You know, we were in a situation where we both needed roommates. I thought this would be okay.
Right.
And obviously I was wrong.
Right. You felt
Obviously I was wrong.
I said you felt comfortable at that time.
Right, I did. I felt comfortable at that time, and it, like, quickly turned left. Like, one of the things I had was, this is a rule she made. Well, she was in her healing journey. She was like, hey, new place, no guys over. I was like, okay. I'm like, yeah, no guys over. You know, we two girls living alone, safety first, no guys
Do you
over.
think she played you with that to try to get you sold on the whole roommate thing?
No, I honestly, after everything that has gone down aside of that, I honestly completely believe she's crazy.
Oh, she's crazy. Okay. So she relapsed on trying to change her life. That happens.
Yes,
Okay.
it does. Yeah, she
Okay.
relapsed very hard. Like, it was so bad.
Ooh.
Like, like, just to share a little bit more of it, how it scared me so bad was, she came to me. I was on the couch chilling. She was like, hey, you know, there's this guy that I want to come over. I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah, you know him, 1 week guy. Now, the reason he was called 1 week guy is because before she had really entered her healing journey, she sat here, got involved with this man, went on like 2 dates, and then for the next week, like, slept over his place 4 times. I was like, what? Now, by his place, I mean his room that he was staying in his family's house. Like, she wheeled her out a little suitcase. And I was like, what?
Some girls just gotta learn the hard way. I hate that for them, but I get it at the same time.
Yeah, I was like, so she was like, oh, that guy. I'm like, okay. This was like months after this whole debacle where she ended up having to go get all her stuff from his house. And I was like, why did you have stuff from his house? Like, you've known him for less than a week. But she's like, oh, well, you know, I was staying over so often, but that's a whole nother story. Like, just like she wasn't seeing the red flags, I wasn't seeing the red flags. I was like, I wanted to be there for my friend. I was in my shut up era. Right. I was like, shut up and listen. Like, she's going through something. She's getting over that first real bad situationship. She's about to go through her healing era. And, like, I mean, she technically did for a quick minute. But, you know, anyway, you know, months later pass. She shows up with this guy. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to invite him over. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable with this man knowing our address.
Ooh, girl.
She's like, okay. Well, like, can you reconsider? I really want to meet up with him. I don't want to, like, pay for a hotel. And I'm like, pay for a hotel? Oh, so you trying to, okay. Well, like, he ain't got a place yet, something like that. Nothing. She told me, basically, after I'd said no, that he was already downstairs. She'd already given him our address. He was already downstairs. And I was like, why did you even ask me?
Girl, so she just disrespectful. See?
And that was the start of me realizing I was like, yeah, no. Like, I was like, never again. I've learned I need to stay away from that because it's not conducive to, like, my healing. I had never seen a good relationship in my life, but and so it was more of that. I can tell this is not it because this reminds me of my family. This is not a good relationship, but I couldn't see that same sign in friendships and realizing that I don't need situationships in my life in any capacity, like from friends, from other people, because I'm still learning to set boundaries correctly in friendships.
Right.
And in, like, family life. But yeah, that I don't want to take up any more of your time, but, like, that was my story. Like, I had to realize that I was making the same mistakes that I was warning her about, just with her.
Yep. Well, thank you, Ray. I do appreciate you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. You enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. The one thing that I wanted to add was when I did this dumb thing. I went through a phase, right, when femininity was at, like, an all-time high, but it was like the fake femininity where you basically groom yourself into being a doormat, right? And so you do this thing where you listen, you're feminine, you do all of that BS, right, with no boundaries. Girl, you are a doormat when you're feminine with no boundaries. You are a feminine, confident, sometimes dark feminine woman when you have boundaries. You may come off a little bitchy, right? Respectfully, but bitchy. So you got to understand that if, being feminine is not about, it's not weakness. It's really not. You just have to learn how to use these things in a certain way. So, yes, you can be a listener, but the person you're listening to needs to have respect for you. You can be a listener, but the person that you're listening to needs to respect your boundaries. Like, it's all about balance, and it's all about maneuvering within your womanhood while having your feminine nature intact, but also being respected. If a man doesn't respect you, you don't owe him a feminine nothing. You don't owe him a feminine experience. I'm sorry. You just don't. Men and women are both masculine and feminine, and I'm really sick of this socialization now when it comes to feminine energy, masculine energy. As an adult, in order for you to truly be healthy and have like a healthy balance emotionally and mentally, spiritually, and all of the above, you have to be aligned. Like, you have to be balanced. You have to be centered. You have to have those characteristics. Like, you have to have all of those things. And so as a woman, you have to know when you need to assert yourself. And how do you do that? Well, you have to assert yourself when it comes to establishing boundaries with people. And it's not, it may involve you not speaking to them. Because if you're just going to sit there and be a doormat where you're just going to allow this person, you listen to them, and you know they're manipulating you because you don't have any boundaries and they don't respect you, you just getting used and your time is being wasted. So you have to find the sauce. I call it the sauce. And it's being difficult within good reason. What does that mean? If you require a man to do things like open the door and he don't do it, so you wait by the door until he opens the door. That's being difficult within good reason, because you're setting the tone for how you want to be treated. If he makes it a big deal and doesn't want to treat you that way, well, he doesn't respect your boundaries. So you guys are not compatible. There are plenty of men out here who would love to open the door for you, but you got to set that tone in the beginning. And that means asserting yourself and telling a man, like, hey, if you can't open the door, I'm gonna just go back upstairs. We on a date, it's the first date, and you don't think opening the door is something you should do? That's respect. That is just respect. So I don't know. It's like, it has to be balanced. Like, don't do that whole, oh, I'm a listener, but then you don't have any boundaries and the man doesn't even have respect for you. So you got to be able to read people. You do. You do. You got to be able to read people. So I'm going to move on to the next one. I have Jazzy and Melissa. So let's do it. Is it Asha?
Yes.
Am I pronouncing your name right?
No, you're not. It's Ajay.
Ashay. Oh,
Ajay,
no, Ajay.
Yeah, Ajay.
Okay, that's different. So what would you like to add to tonight's conversation?
Hold up. I told PS Met I was gonna say hi. Don't want the background. I'm in my aunt's basement. I just moved to a different state, so that's real humble right now.
Oh, I know.
But I do have a degree. I'm just letting y'all know. Just different location. But anyways, so I'm a late bloomer as well. I think you attract a lot of people who are late bloomers on your YouTube channel. I had lost my virginity like a few weeks before 25.
Okay.
Best decision I have ever made.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wait. Now you need to explain that, because some of the girls, they are against that. So where are you at with this?
Well, so before I had lost my virginity, I was in this between stage. Like, I don't want to lose it because little did I know I was scared of men. A little did I know I was a little insecure. I think people have confidence in certain places and certain areas of themselves. And so there were certain things that I lacked confidence in. I had lost weight. So to be honest, like, there's certain things that sag, the breast. I got back rolls. And a host of other physical things that I was not confident in. And so
But then also, so that's, I was kind of hiding myself when it came to that. I had, before losing my virginity, I had connected with guys, not, it was like, I would say short term, little connections, like, cuddle, make out, talk, get to know. Cause I do believe in putting yourself in uncomfortable positions in a strategic way, because the only way you're going to go hurt overcome your fears is by facing them. And
Right.
so if I want to create relationships with the opposite sex, I need to challenge myself to be around the opposite sex. And I was also nervous because of
I love this because this is what I teach. I'm like, you don't have to have sex. So I like how before you lost your virginity, you were still able to get the experience, right? But not
Yeah.
go all the way.
Right.
And how were you able to do that though?
Because I knew I'm very stubborn, and also too, I was in school, so I learned from my environment, and not always. I do think sometimes you learn best with the experience, but so I felt very powerful. Like, so I feel like I hold a sexual energy without me having sex. Like when I was a virgin, I felt a strong sexual energy. I don't know how to explain that. And I hate talking about myself when it comes to explaining who I am because it sounds very conceited, but that's how I feel inside.
No,
Okay.
not with me, girl. Not with me. I understand. It does not sound conceited at all. I
Okay.
actually can relate to what you're saying, how you still felt sexual not without you understood your sex, you could identify with your sexual energy without actually having sex.
Right. Yeah. And it was like listening to sensual music. I've always done that since like young teenager. Probably reading inappropriate books. But that's kind of, I low-key kind of I like that about me.
Right.
So anyways, I don't know if I'm answering the question. How did I do that? Well, so I knew I didn't want to have sex, and I'm stubborn. I didn't want to have kids. I'd seen what I was afraid that relationships would set me behind in my goals. And so around the time that I lost my virginity is the time that I graduated. So I felt confident. I felt confident in myself to, if I was to be in a predicament that if not in a good if I was to put myself in a predicament where I probably need to buy some antibiotics or
right. I get what you mean. You took a calculated risk.
Yes.
And that's what I be trying to tell the girls. It's like, listen, you can live, but you have to think first before you live.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm making decent money. So if I get pregnant, I can afford this child. It's gonna be challenging, but it's not going to be as difficult if I didn't graduate.
Right.
And so anyways, so yeah, lost my virginity. The reason why I find it's the best choice I made is because, like I said, I was on this fence, scared of men, blah, blah, blah. We already went over that. But then also, too, I didn't want to not have experiences. I didn't want to no offense to anybody that has experienced, sensual or sexual relationships at age late, at the top of their 40s or 30s or in their 40s. No offense to that. But I wanted to, and I did. And it was in California on a beach. Loved it. Not the sex, but the experience.
Girl, I'm a late bloomer too, so I don't regret my the reason is because it was such a great experience that I was happy with it. I wasn't even mad about it.
Yeah.
And I waited and I did it on my own terms. And so when you go through that phase where you turning down people because you like, it's not for me, I'm not ready, and then when you feel like you are and you go through with it, you don't have regrets.
Yeah. And so there, I was like a little like, damn, you really did this. So I didn't want to talk to the guy anymore. He didn't know I was a virgin. He was so nice though. But there was like a lot of other things as to why I didn't want to talk to him. But that's not my situationship. So second guy, met him, don't regret it at all either. It's adventurous time. And so we would have sex, let's be honest, or segs, because we're on YouTube. And and it was cool. I liked him. Like he was very kind. He had his shit together, and so I only had most time. I think every person I've had sex with had their shit together. So if I was to have gotten pregnant with this person, I know at least financially they could support me. And they were very like nerdy, but I like that. So I knew like if we had to co-parent, my child is going to be educated.
Calculated risk. I like you're living, but you're taking calculated risk.
Right. And
that's the key, y'all. That's the secret. Shh,
and it's honestly it's like a natural thing for me because I get like I don't know, it's just a natural thing for me. I don't know. Also too, it just fits my personality, the guys that I choose. And so fast forward, I told him my nickname. So I later was like, oh, like this is a continuous thing. I thought it was gonna be a one night stand. So it's still a situationship. So I'm like, he probably should know my name. So I tell him, he was like, oh, okay. I thought you were just trying to be weird and secretive. And I was like, no, I just let people know what my nickname is, because people can't pronounce my actual name, Yoni. So we so God Lord. So at the end I started liking him and I started getting mixed feelings because also too the sex wasn't that great, but I didn't know what else to compare it to but my first time, so it was better than my first time, and it was still good, but I just didn't feel a connection to him, and I that's when I realized I would rather have I don't mind having sex with him, but I would rather feel connected to him.
Right.
And so
and you're learning all of this, right? As you're going through these different experiences, you're learning more about yourself.
Yes, I am. And that's one of the things is like, oh, I thought I can do this situationship, but I really can't. So this is near the time I'm about to move to Texas. And so so a few weeks before, I didn't want to just cut it off by around the time I moved to Texas because that wouldn't challenge myself to create a boundary when it's uncomfortable for me. And so I told him, hey, like, I can't do this anymore. Like I don't want to have sex. He was like, what's up? Is it boring? I was like, yeah, that too, because it did start getting a little boring. He was like, you can tell me, it's okay. That's one thing I liked about him too. But it was like, I think it would be better if I got to know you more. I'm getting to know you, but I want to, like, I feel like it would just be better if I got to know you more. And so Yoni, what's the face?
Because I'm like, getting to know somebody outside the bedroom, it ain't the same.
Yeah. And so before like a week before I left, he hit me up and asked like if I wanted to go out for ice cream. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like hang out and talk. And then, so then we had sex. So I was upset. So anyways, we talk every now and again. He asked me how I'm doing in Texas, tell him. And then a few months passed and he's on my mind. And I don't know if y'all ever feel this, but sometimes you feel like you're on their mind too.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, you guys are connected now.
Yes. And so he hits me up.
I have a question though. Would you say that? Did you stare at this man in his eyes when y'all were doing the do?
Did I stare in his eyes? There's sometimes, but not all the time, because that was like awkward for me.
But listen, I'm warning the girls. Listen, if you out there having casual sex and you're not trying to be like synced in with them like that, do not look at them in the eyes when you're doing the do and you're in that procreation energy. Oh, okay. You don't do that. That's you guys are imprinting on each other, which means you're syncing your energy with that other person. So yeah, like when they're thinking of you, that you start to think of them, and then you'll have these weird experiences where it's like, oh, I was just about to call you, or I was just about to text you. Don't look at them in the eyes. Like, I cannot stress that.
Okay. Okay, I'll wear sunglasses next time if I decide to.
Wear your sunglasses.
But so we so a few months go by and he's like, hey, like, how are you doing and stuff? And he was going to see if he could visit me in Texas. But I was like, well, funny thing is, I'm actually going back to Missouri, so like we can hang out, and we already know what hangout is, and so
Right.
we did that, and then it's the same situation. I had to go back to Missouri, and so we hooked up again. And that time, I remember telling myself, I really don't want to have sex with him. I just want to cuddle. And so and I had some other experiences where I was like, this isn't for me anymore. And this is a year from my first time having sex, where I tried some things out, and I later found out I need to get to know this person, because I feel like if they know me and respect me, then they will be more, I feel more comfortable to express my likes and dislikes when it comes to having sex with them. Um, and so I just didn't feel comfortable all the time with the guys, like expressing my likes and dislikes. But also too, I wasn't too hard on myself, because I knew I was still learning my likes and my dislikes. And I'm still learning, but I'm not willing to try with any new person right now. And so so after that hookup, he hits me up a few months later, and we're just catching up this time. Um, and I'm telling him I'm about to go to a different state for a little bit. He's like, "Oh, I've always wanted to go there. Like, let me know so then I can meet you there and hang out." I was like, I would be down. I would have seriously have been down, but I knew we would have sex, and that's something I didn't want.
Right.
So I decided to text him and say, I genuinely like you as a person. And I genuinely like him as a person. He's like confident and nerdy. He owns his own home. Like he's savvy with like he's renting out the rooms and stuff like that. So he's about his business. And and when he talks about what he likes, he lights up. So I was telling him all these things that I liked about him, things that I didn't tell him before. Yeah. And I think that's too another thing where I messed up. Maybe the situationship could have turned into something more if I was a little bit more vulnerable, but also too, I was nervous to be vulnerable because we classified this as a situationship. And so the fear of rejection. So I tell him all of this, and he says, okay. And because also too, I was telling him I don't want this to be a standby relationship. I feel like we're standbys for each other. And he said, I wasn't that me checking up on you wasn't to be ill intent. I just genuinely want to check up on you because you said I could. And I said, yeah, but I think like now, no. And so he respected that. There was no back and forth, which is sexy as fuck. But I'm not about to go back on what I said. So this is at the point where I realized I genuinely want to try for a relationship because I'd never been in a serious relationship. This is at a point where I knew I want to connect with somebody outside of the physical.
So did he ever express to you how he thought about you?
He said he he didn't like there was
he didn't.
No, he didn't. He was just like I feel comfortable with you, and I do like that you get me along those lines.
But that's it?
Yeah, that's it. So that too. There was also a few other things that kind of gave me red flags. Like, yeah, this is a situationship. So yeah, he didn't express. He did. I have to look back at text messages, but from what I remember, I think I would remember. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're talking about what you like about me. I will remember. So, like I said, good guy. Not disrespectful to me or anything like that, and was always willing to pay for stuff. And I'm not saying I wanted his money, but the fact that he was willing to sacrifice his time and his money made me feel like he was, invested into something. You know what I mean? My cat, but still, he was invested. So I learned, so anyways, along that, I learned how to be intimate, not just with him, but even before I was having sex. But it did teach me to create boundaries, even if it's within sexual relationships, and I'm still working on that. But Um, yeah, and it did kind of teach me like I do like an adventurous type of situation when it comes to, you know, the physical, like being physically interactive. Girl, I'm using all these big ass words so I can sugarcoat myself. But yeah, so girl, I'm gonna leave it at that. I know there's other people in this call.
But I think like girls got to understand when you're a late bloomer, you don't have no experience for real. Like
Mhm.
that. So this men are not wifing up virgins like they used to.
Yeah.
So when you get up in age 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 with no experience, not even intimacy, it's very
Mhm.
hard to date. So I feel like based off of your experience, you waited, you took calculated risk, and you learned and you grew and you gained the experience. And so now you can be way more selective about who you give your body to because you learn, you know more about yourself. But before, you really didn't know. Like some people don't know how to manage their emotions while having sex. If you've
Yeah.
never had sex, you don't know how to manage being sexual with someone and also being emotionally stable.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you're out here having sex with someone and you guys may not be seeing eye to eye, you guys are not communicating well, whatever the case may be, you may not know how to handle your or manage your emotions well while being sexual.
Right.
So I think with balance, like women do need to put themselves out here and gain some experience because
Yeah.
times change. I honestly don't even know what to tell women. I mean, you stay a virgin, you stay modest, you stay in the house, but then like if you come out, somebody can easily take advantage of you. Or if you're really out there and you are promiscuous, men are just using your body. I think women need to figure it out for themselves and
Yeah.
understand like this is your journey. Do things on your own terms.
Yeah.
Don't do them according to the pressure of society and just keep it
Exactly.
at that, which is basically what you did. And just learn and grow. That's really all you can do. But there's no picture perfect way of doing it. There's
There
really
isn't, and that's the beauty of life. We're out here like I was trying to be what's that thing like OCD and perfect about certain things. It's no. This is
not.
what makes life life. This is what makes life fun. You know what I mean? Yes, you're going to get hurt, but through that hurt, you do learn something. Also, too, sometimes like those experiences I've had, yeah, there were certain things I wish he would have said, I would have said, things would have been done, blah blah blah. But it was still fun. Like this is the story to tell. I'm not saying be
Everybody
reckless, but like you want,
everybody gets played. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Like if you are out here putting yourself out here, everybody is getting played
yeah,
at different levels.
yeah,
So if she's a late bloomer, she would have got played the same way if she was like 21, 19. Like she just doing
mm,
it at 25.
yeah.
So it's like listen, if you don't want to get played, I'm telling you now, don't date. Not today.
Yeah.
Not
Life is
don't
fun.
date.
Life is fun. Life is sad, and do whatever. I mean, not do whatever, but participate in life. So then you can learn what you like. Like we
Yeah.
just gonna be out here just stuck. I don't
Yeah.
understand.
You're gonna be
So
stuck. I'm telling you. That's what I want to ask you.
yeah,
Did you feel stuck at 26? No, 25 and a late bloomer?
I didn't I know I didn't feel stuck at 25 as a late bloomer. Like there were some times where I was like, damn, probably should have done this a little earlier because I probably could have had a relationship earlier. But then I had to uh I don't know. Like I now have money. I now have freedom because I got a car. So I just feel like a grown ass kid playing. So I didn't feel stuck. I just viewed my circumstance as I'm a grown ass kid with wisdom playing. And
Okay.
playing with life. So most times that's my thought process. Um uh so no, I didn't feel stuck. Maybe sometimes I did. Maybe sometimes I wish I would have done things a little earlier. But now I really do like when I started because I had wisdom
Right.
for myself. Like I was very observant before entering, and also too I was creating grace for myself before I entered having sex. So when things that I didn't like happen, like nothing too crazy or anything, but things
Right, right,
that
right.
like if I made dumb decisions, then I can have grace for myself and say, Ajay, it's okay. You're learning. Let's go on. I don't know. I just love it. I love where and how I did things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but
No, it definitely did. I think to the
okay.
girls that are like missing the experience, or maybe they feel uncomfortable with where they are being a late bloomer, I think they just needed to hear that from somebody else, because I say it all the time, but they think I'm telling them just go out here and be buck wild. And it's like,
No, don't.
no, don't do that. Like, make calculated risk. But like, I'm pretty sure you didn't think you were gonna end up in a situationship. You had to learn how to communicate. You had to learn how to set boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how to do that until you're actually in it. Because
Yeah.
when you enter a situationship, you don't plan to be in a situationship. It kind of just happens.
Right.
And it's really due to your lack of experience. It's not
Mm-hmm.
always for a late bloomer, it's lack of experience. It's not low self-esteem. It's
Mm-hmm.
lack of experience. She did not
Yeah.
get it in high school. She didn't get it in college. She didn't even get it after 21.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to understand, like, because you're a late bloomer, things that you should know at that time, you most likely don't know because you never had the experience. So
Mm-hmm.
a situationship is not something you truly sign up for. It's something you find yourself in, and you're like, damn, how did I get here? That's part of the lesson is,
Yeah.
how did you get here? The lack of boundaries, the lack of communication, the lack
Mm-hmm.
of being direct about what I want. Was I in confusion? Was I unsure of myself? There's so many lessons within a situationship. So keep that in mind. But
Yeah. Especially also too, it's just like a new job too. Like, okay, I should have came in on time.
right,
Okay,
right,
next time I'll be clear about my schedule and they're not about to play with me.
right,
So with the second job, you'll do better. With the third job, you'll do even better. With that fourth job, you'll do great.
right.
So it is what it is.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so much
yeah,
for coming up here and sharing. Because I think the late bloomers need to know, because they're being told like not to do certain things. But I'm just like, you're going off what people are telling you. How are you gonna know for yourself?
yeah, exactly.
You're gonna get taken advantage of because you're going off of what other people are saying and not what you know.
Hmm. Yeah,
So thank you for that. I appreciate you for
of
coming up here and
course.
sharing. You
All
have a
right,
nice
yeah.
day.
Have a good night. Bye.
You too. And no, it's not the popular thing to say, it's the street thing to say. And I'm being real with you. I'm telling you, if you don't go out here and get the experience and you do it on your own terms, in your own ways, not according to what everybody else is telling you, this is for the late bloomers only. Is when you go out here and you put yourself out here, you gain the experience, you learn though. You don't keep repeating the same problem. Like, that's the thing. As a late bloomer, you can't waste time. So like, if you find yourself in a situationship, that's it. You don't need another one. Girl, you a late bloomer. So that's what I'm saying. Like, one situationship, cool, but we're not about to do 2 and 3 and we 26, 27, 28 years, 30 years old. One is good enough, because that's what you need. Then you learn and you grow. Why? Because you're wiser at 26, 27, 28, 30 years old. You just need one though. You don't need multiple, because now you're wasting your time. Let me go. Jazzy, you're up next.
Hello.
How are you doing, sis? You've been so patient and waiting. Melissa, you're up next, sis. Don't go anywhere.
I'm glad I waited because I can add to the late bloomer conversation.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead.
I'm in my mid 30s now, but I
Okay.
did lose my virginity when I was 22.
Okay.
Um, I my first situation and last situationship happened when I was 28. So
Okay.
I'm like far removed from it. I've already learned my lessons. But yeah, so the situationship I had prior to him, I could count on one hand how many times and how many guys I had sex with. So I
Mm-hmm.
was really inexperienced.
Mm-hmm.
But with him, he was the first guy I was having consistent sex with. We had known each other for like 8 months already. The
Mm-hmm.
first mistake is we worked together, so that's that was the number first mistake. Um, but yeah, we had known each other for 8 months already. We clicked or whatever, and that's just really how I felt like we were at least friends. And over time, I think both of us were starting to question, like, are we attracted to each other or
Mm-hmm.
what? Because both of us were in a space like we're not really looking to date. We were just focused on working and trying to, get our money up and all that stuff. But he was the one that approached me about like dating. He wanted to give it a shot. It seemed like we had some chemistry or whatever. So I was willing to give it a chance. And that's where I messed up because like I want to say like a week or two within us dating, I think that's when we first hooked up.
Mhm.
And after I think we only went on like two dates. And the second date I had to demand. Like we haven't been anywhere before. You know, we ended up just like hooking up because it just happened too so fast. So most of the time we were always trying to hook up or whatever. Um, so afterward I kind of realized like he wasn't into it anymore,
Mhm.
and I brought up like I think we don't need to like date anymore. We should just fall back on that. And he was like, okay, cool. And then like a little bit later, he was like, well, can we still, like hook up or whatever? And I was like, yeah, I don't care. It's cool. It's the first time I've been, having consistent sex like this before. So we were hooking up for a while, and then it just kind of got old for me because I was
Mhm.
realizing that it was centered around his pleasure. Like I wasn't really getting much pleasure. It was exciting because it was a first,
Right, right,
but
right.
after a while, I was realizing like I thought it was supposed to be better than this. Like I thought, it was supposed to be a little bit more than just you get yours, and then I'm kind of like, oh, it's over. Like we done. You don't have anything else left in the tank, like. So I brought up that maybe we should end things, and he agreed. Um, and we had like a pact, not a pact, but an agreement that I was gonna get my birthday sex, and he was gonna get his, but it was like a month between our birthdays because that was something I had never done before. So it was like something I wanted to check off the list,
Mhm.
and um, I got mine and then my birthday, and then in between then he still wanted to hook up. And I was like, okay, whatever. And the last time we were about to, hook up or whatever, he did something that we had already had a conversation about that don't ask me to do this. Like I'll do it when I want to or when I'm really in the mood to do it, but I don't like being asked.
Mhm.
And the way that he postured himself in front of me was like, all right, you know what to do. Like, excuse you? First of all, you're not my man. We gave that a try. You weren't into it. We ended that. And when it comes to us hooking up or whatever, like, this isn't something I have to do. And I thought we had this conversation. And like the clothes were off. We were about to get into it, and I just got up, put my clothes on, and we never had sex again.
Mm.
And we even hung out the very next day, and I had wrote a letter. I had put everything I wanted to say to him in this letter as far as like my experience with him. Like, it was cool at first, but now, like at the end, this is how I feel, or whatever. And we hung out all day. And at the end of the day, I asked him, I said, do you want to talk about what happened yesterday? And he was like, no, 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 that happened in the past. It's good. We cool. And I was like, okay. So I never said anything. I never pressed the issue. I never gave him the letter. I, threw it away, got rid of it because I'm like, if he don't want to face the truth, I'm not going to force it on him. But I still, unfortunately, we were still, I don't know why I felt the need to do this, but I still was holding on that we could still be friends because I felt like it is possible for men and women to still be friends even after they, hook up or whatever. But I want to say it had been like we were still in contact like for a few years. Like just last year, I had to like eventually finally cut him off. But over every time we would like reconnect and catch up, he would always ask me like, "Are you dating anyone? Are you you seeing anybody? You
Yep.
you
They
know."
always like to keep surveillance. That's why I don't like keeping in contact. I block, honey. Mm-mm.
Yeah, but I was stuck on we could still be friends after all that. I don't know why I felt the need to prove that. But
Mhm.
once I realized like it seems like that's all he wants. He just wanna try to go back to that old thing, and I'm really
Mhm.
sitting here genuinely trying to be friends. When I walked out that day, it was turned off. There was nothing turning back on ever again in that capacity.
Mm-mm.
And for him to continue to keep trying, I just felt disrespected.
Mhm.
And so I finally just like blocked him, ended all contact and whatever. But yeah, I That was my first and last situationship, but thankfully, I
I'm
did
proud
have
of
a.
you though.
I had a, huh?
I'm proud of you though, because like girls don't understand. Like this is what it takes, y'all. This is doing the work. If you go to therapy, girl, this is what it looks like. You go through things, you reevaluate, you reflect, and then you change.
Yeah,
That's what doing the work looks like. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just had to point that out because girls think doing the work is getting it right the first time. No, sometimes it's doubling back, tripling back, and then you finally realize, damn, I really deserve better than this. Like, why am I doing this?
yeah. Like just even with the sex alone, like I knew sex was better than this, and
Mm-hmm.
then continuing to try to be his friend, just feeling like he's not giving forth the effort. I deserve better than this. When I
Right.
even me deciding that this dating thing ain't working because you don't seem into it, and I'm not about to be on a date with someone that don't want to like. It's like he was like rushing through the dates, you know. It was
Mm.
yeah. Yeah, but thankfully, I had a hookup after him, and it was like the sex was better, so it
Mm.
confirmed like yeah, sex can be better.
Yeah.
But I've been celibate for like 4 years now, and
Congrats.
thank you. But yeah, I'm just like really focusing on myself is why I've gravitated to platforms like yours, and I appreciate you for first of all having the patience to get through all these calls and just do what you're doing. Period. You and the other women that I
Thank you.
learned from, because just like you, I had a sheltered upbringing. You know, Southern
Mm.
Baptist Christian. That's why I lost my virginity so late. And
Mm-hmm.
just navigating dating like on my own without much guidance, and just like the last caller, I too am stubborn, and so that's
Mm-hmm.
probably what has contributed to why I haven't fallen into the certain pitfalls that I thankfully have avoided. But
Mm-hmm.
even in my little situationship, it was still something I had to go through to learn from. So
Right.
hopefully, I've given somebody something that they needed to hear.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Thank you, Jazzy, so much for coming up here and sharing. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. Okay, Melissa, girl, you are the last one for tonight. Can you tell I worked in customer service at a call center? Because I know how to talk to people. You know, you just got to be patient. That's where I get my patience from. I used to work in call center, and that was stressful. This is light. Okay,
Hello?
Melissa. Hi,
Hi.
sweetie. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm amazing. How are you?
Good. You are the most patient person. Like you waited a long time. So
Oh, I
please
love
go
being
ahead.
on here, so no problem. And it's the weekend, so I got time. Um, what's it called? Yeah, I have like two stories. I won't take too long because I know I'm the
Okay.
last caller. Um, but I want to share my first situationship,
Okay.
which went on for like 2 years.
Okay.
And I don't know if like a late bloomer is considered like around their teens. I lost my virginity when I was 19. Well, a week before I turned 19.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say from watching my friends and their experiences through relationships,
Mm-hmm.
um, that taught me a lot of things, which I thought, but until I went through my own situationships and relationships, I got to see that I was still blind. Even though I had the knowledge from what my friends went through,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize until it was too late.
Right.
But either
That's
way,
the girl. But that's what I be
yes.
trying to tell the girls. Okay. They be thinking they know it all just because they seen a friend and witness through somebody else. When you are
Hmm.
in it, your emotions are involved. You are attached. It's a totally different ball game. So the girls who lack experience, they don't have that segment of the experience. They're just going off of what they see. But when your emotions and your just your time and the fact that you are around this person is totally different, you guys. I used to be just like you, where I thought I had all the answers because I was the counselor of the friend group and everything like that. And then somehow I found myself in the same situation. And the reason was because when your feelings are involved, it's a totally different experience. When you are in the thick of it, you're like, oh, I'm a hypocrite. Yeah, because when your feelings are involved, you don't know how you're going to react. You can't even predict it. So go right ahead.
Okay, but
I'm
you're
sorry,
so
I just had to
true.
make
Like,
that known because the girls be thinking they know it all, and I'm like, you have no idea.
yeah, it's so true. Honestly, I was
Mm-hmm.
in for a shock.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so the situationship lasted for 2 years. I got to find out that I was actually chasing this guy, and mind
You were
you, I
actually, I'm
live in.
sorry.
I was
We can
chasing him.
barely hear
Can
you.
you hear me? Okay, I'm gonna take my earbuds out.
Okay. Maybe it would be better.
Hello?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so I found out that I was actually chasing this guy, and just for reference, I live in Copenhagen,
Mm-hmm.
Denmark, so Scandinavia, and this guy lives in London, so
Okay.
just like an hour between us.
Okay.
So, first time I met him was at a friend's birthday party, so that's how I got his contact. So we were just texting back and forth. So whenever I would go to London, we'll meet up. And the first time we met up after we met at the party, he asked me whether or not if I wanted to go out and eat or go to his place. And I feel like the mistake I did was I chose to go to his place
Mm-hmm.
instead of setting the boundary of, you know what, I'm not the type you can just take home on the first day, because that's not what I wanted. But I was like, okay, let me just go with the flow because I really like this guy. So that continued on for 2 years. And so the next time, I think that was the third or fourth time I went back to London.
Mm-hmm.
We went out. And when he dropped me back home from the date, I told myself I have to be completely honest with this guy and tell him how I feel. Because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he hasn't expressed that to me. So let me just, you know, express my feelings. So I did. So I told him, like, where's this gonna go? I want to know what's up. And then he told me he's had that thought in the back of his head, and he feels like the distance between us is what's difficult for him. And I was like, okay, it's only an hour and a half on plane, but
Right.
I can respect it because long distance is not for everybody.
Right.
But he said that he was willing to um, work on it. And I was the happiest girl in the world that day. I was like, oh, I expressed my feelings. Everything is good. My chest is lifted. When I went back home, Yoni, that was July 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I came back for London Carnival. I told myself, okay, let me see if this guy's gonna text me. For the whole 3 months, so it wasn't July, so 3 months and then to August, I
Mm-hmm.
did not hear from this guy. I said, wow, I've been playing myself this whole time. So this whole time, I was the one insinuating like conversation and taking the initiative to like text him. He would reply or whatever, but I was in for a rude awakening. So I did not hit him up at all.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, with all the people that goes to Carnival, like over 100,000 people, I
Mm-hmm.
saw him that day. I saw him that day.
Girl, the way
Now,
the universe works out here, girl.
I'm
So what did you
telling you,
learn? What did you see?
um, actually, there was a person that had grabbed my wrist, and then I dropped my bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I turned around, I saw him, and I was like, yo, okay, either I go over and I greet him,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to go and like look for my bracelet, but I knew I would have like a smirk on my face because I was aware that he was standing right around where I dropped my bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went over and I said hi to him, and I didn't give him a hug. And then he was standing there with his friends, and he was like, oh, so you're not gonna give me a hug? And I was like, wow, really? And he didn't even give me a proper hug, and it was so awkward. And then he told me that I should behave because we were at Carnival. And then I kind of like punched him on his shoulder, and I was like, you too. And then I just walked off. And that was the last thing, uh, or last contact I had with him in real life. And then, what was it? the next month he wished me happy birthday, and then I ended up blocking him because I was like,
Oh
I
my
gotta
God,
let that go.
why do they do that? Why do they do that? I don't understand that.
I have no idea.
I don't understand it. But listen, I have to say this because I'm on a platform. Listen, I don't condone domestic violence.
I
Please keep your
know.
hands to yourself. I know.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, I understand because I used to be wild out here when I was younger. You know, I used to think I was a boy because I was a tomboy and I had to learn the difference. So I went to anger management. Listen, if you got to go to anger
Yes,
management, that's what you got to do. They try to make it seem like
absolutely.
women can't have anger. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have it. So if you don't have manage of it, if you don't know
Yes,
how to manage it, I do recommend um anger management because you don't want to go to jail,
that's right.
you know. So just make sure that if you do have a hard time managing your anger, because I did for sure and do community service, trust me, I did. It's okay to go get some anger management. Like I cannot stress that enough because I'm a fire sign, okay? I can pop out,
Yeah,
but that's not how you handle things. So I just have to say that because I
thank
am
you.
on a platform and I don't know who's watching, but it is not okay
That's
to
right.
do that. But I know you were having your own experience. So what were you learning? What did you learn from that?
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Because you know I'm gonna ask that girl.
I can't date my own sign. That's
what
one.
what sign are you?
I'm a Libra, Yoni.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yes. What's it called? Yeah, well, I learned to set more clearer boundaries because
Okay.
that's definitely something I still struggle with to this day, but it's gotten a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll definitely say it stems from childhood. A lot of our issues stem from my childhood. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, setting clearer boundaries, definitely,
That's
and
huge.
being more assertive
That's huge.
and speaking up in in the midst of the situation instead of um letting it happen and then come back and expressing it. Of course, there's nothing wrong with coming back to express how you felt or if somebody did you wrong, but definitely practicing
Practicing.
um yeah, definitely addressing situations in the midst of it happening.
Mhm. Did you realize that maybe the reason why you didn't was because you don't handle confrontation well?
Oh yes,
Yeah. I
definitely,
hate I hate that,
definitely.
but it's like, girl, it's all or nothing. So sometimes you just gotta be confrontational.
Yes,
So
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And okay, so my second story,
Hmm.
that was my first relationship, and
Hmm.
that happened last year.
Okay.
So I was on Hinge. First red flag. I can't go back. I can't go back. Okay, so um again, a London guy. I've noticed that I have to stay out of London because
Something about
it's
London,
not
y'all. She just told y'all something about
it's
London.
not good. It's not good. I try to like go out here where I stay, but I don't really feel like I meet any guys. But yeah, I'm open to it, but it's just not giving.
Mm.
But anyway, okay. So I gave this guy time on my own birthday. He took me out though,
Okay.
for brunch, and
Okay.
it was so nice. But I could definitely, reflecting back, our sexual chemistry was crazy. And as I've heard you speak of and mention that if that's the first thing you head into first, then the communication will probably not be as strong because it's the sexual it was built on sex.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Okay. So we went out for brunch. I
Hmm.
went out later that evening with my friends for dinner, and then I went back to his place, and I found out he stayed with his mom, and I spent the night, and I met his mom in the morning. Awkward. Okay, I left, and he came. Um, what, a month later or 2 months later to visit me here in Copenhagen,
Hmm.
and when he came, we stayed at a hotel, and he asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend. And me, out of excitement, because it was my first relationship or first time somebody asked me to be their girlfriend, I said yes. Why not? And that was my mistake because I barely know you. Like literally, I barely know you. So, but this relationship lasted for um 5 months. It was very very short. Um, but so when he came and visited me in October, I went to London in December because I had a DJ gig. So I stayed with him, and during that stay, that was very very uncomfortable
Oh,
because
really?
I saw some behaviorisms where I was questioning, is this guy a narc or not?
Okay.
Yeah, I got to see very well.
Mm-hmm.
And he was giving me, my last day, he was giving me the silent treatment
Mm-hmm.
because I had cleaned in the kitchen and I threw some, can you imagine, some sauces out, like, that you get from restaurants and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I had thrown that out and he was like, he got upset with that, but he didn't really express that to me. But I could assume that was the reason. So I got the silent treatment the whole of the next day.
Oh my God. Over
I'm
some sauce?
telling you, sweetie, it,
Girl, that's
it,
definitely giving narcissism
it
though.
was outrageous.
Dang, over
And
some sauce though? That's
I'm
crazy.
telling you, and that night he slept in the living room, and that was actually the second time he had slept in the living room of me being there for a week. So yeah, that whole day was just crazy. But either way, we figured it out. I was sad, and he was like, I know I gotta stop being stubborn, and I'm working on that, yada, yada, yada. All right.
Girl, that's giving crazy. Low
Is
key psychopath. 'Cause, girl, over some sauce and then the sauce is coming from a restaurant. Like, what we doing with that? What's going
no, no, no. A kid. Jesus Christ. Okay, so skipping forward to February,
on?
I
Mm-hmm.
could sense that our communication was like starting to like go downhill. Like, it was like he was distancing himself. And every time I tried to call it out, he would never call it out. I would always like take up the conversations like, okay, what's going on? Like he will always like be very quiet if something would bother him. So
Mm-hmm.
February came. Um I think, yeah, we were texting a particular day, and then in fun he had said something about, oh, he would never show his face again. I don't really recall what it was,
Mm-hmm.
but he ended up ghosting me for a whole 6 days.
Oh my God.
And this was supposed to be my boyfriend.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This was crazy. So he ghosted me for a week. And then he had a business account where he had posted, and then I was like, okay, that's weird. And he had an iPad as well where he would call me from, but I literally couldn't get a hold of him. So something told me to go to Hinge. So I reopened it. Tell me why he had updated all his photos and he had included a picture I had taken of him while he was visiting me here in Copenhagen.
Oh, but he didn't post you though.
Oh no, 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 no,
They kill
no.
me with that.
And you know what? He had asked me how I felt about like posting one another. And I told him that I was okay because I don't like people being in my business like that. I like to keep like my relationships private. And it was my first one. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to include people because it was also so fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So my closest friends knew and my mother knew, of course. But yeah, I got to know that he was still active on the dating app. So he hit me up. I think 2 days later of me finding that out. And I had texted his friend, like, do you know if he's okay? I haven't heard from him. And this was a friend that like lived like 5 minutes away from him.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, let me just check up with him because I've met his friends when I went back in December. But the friend didn't respond. I wasn't expecting that from him either. But yeah, we talked. He apologized, but me confronting him with him still being on the dating app, he tried to justify with it being another kind of social media. I was like,
Goodbye.
you crazy.
Goodbye.
You are absolutely crazy. But yeah, that was a tough one. A lot of back and forth. Gave him the opportunity to speak to me
Mhm.
in real life. I went to London for some work,
Mhm.
and what he told me is not what I wanted to hear. Can you imagine that he said he just did it to do it?
Yeah, that's
He didn't have a reasoning.
so he was wasting your time then.
Oh, big time. And
Yeah.
he's trying to come back, and I'm
They
not.
always come back. I tell, listen, girls, ladies, men always come back. Okay, you don't need to ever worry about a man coming back. He always come back. Just like you
He
put out some
always
food, like a stray dog, that dog always gonna come back sniffing around your front door because they
temperature
want that
checking.
food. So don't
Temperature
like,
checking.
huh?
I said temperature checking.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what. Yeah, that's why they always come back. So you over here like, oh, if I leave, like we're never gonna see each other again. Girl, you gotta
Hmm.
understand when he's out here doing what he want to do. Use that time to heal. So then when he does come back, right,
Hmm.
you can reject him, and
Exactly.
then your ego is fed. I'm being real with you. I'm a little toxic. Like
Oh,
I'm the type
same.
of person where I have the mindset where I'm like, okay, like he ghosted me, cool. Let me work on myself. Let me get in the gym. Let me get this revenge body going. It's gonna make me feel better
That's
after
right.
dealing with this trash. And then when he comes sniffing around my door, reject. That's it. And it feeds my ego and I move on. I don't understand
Right.
why ladies don't keep it like that. It is what it
Hmm.
is. They always come back.
They always come back, and I definitely I can't say that I'm not scarred from this this bogus little ass relationship I had. But I'm taking time for myself. I can
Mm-hmm.
definitely sense on my mom. She's like, "Oh, don't let this take you down. Please don't be scared of men." Like so and so forth. But I'm like, let me take my time, please, because I need to figure myself out. I need to find myself again.
That
And
is
I
so
definitely feel like after this relationship, I'm not really interested in sex. I'm going on 1 year now. So, yeah,
good for you, Melissa. I'm proud of you.
very.
I'm proud of the girls that have came up here. Thank you so much for coming up here and
Thank you so
sharing.
much, Yoni. And
You're welcome.
keep doing your thing.
Thank you.
I try to share your channel with all my
Thank you.
friends so they can be a part of the community.
Thank you. Thank you. I really do
Uh,
appreciate that. You enjoy the rest of your night.
you too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm gonna address this man in the chat. I'm a little toxic. There it is, fellas. Yeah, when I'm done with you, I'm very toxic. I'm a bitch. That's exactly what I am because you tried to play with me. Did you not hear what the girl said? She said she found him on a dating site. You think I'm gonna be nice about that? And this is what I be talking about. Men love to gaslight women, but they never want to talk about what they did that made that woman be toxic with them. Like you got a good thing going, but you out here on a dating site and you think I'm gonna respond nicely. I'm not. I'm not. I'm about to turn up on your ass. And then I'm done with you. It's really that simple. I don't know why. I don't understand why men don't understand that. Like I'm very nice. I don't do drama. I don't like confrontation, but when somebody starts to play with me, knowing that I've been honest, transparent, upfront and communicative, and then you want to start playing games, I get to be toxic now. And that's what women need to understand. When you're in therapy, your therapist will tell you you don't get rid of your shadow side because you still have to learn how to defend yourself. You can't just allow people to walk all over you. You can't allow people to just talk to you any type of way or treat you any type of way. So sometimes you do. You have to be toxic or you have to step into your masculine energy because if you're not, people just going to walk all over you, treat you any type of way, talk to you any type of way, disrespect you, and you just going to let it, you just going to allow it? No. No, you not. And I know like a lot of empaths, a lot of like nice girls, you struggle with defending yourself. You struggle with standing up for yourself. You struggle with finding your voice. Now, do you turn up on everybody? No, just men who want to play games with you. That's it. That's not even toxic. That's you defending yourself. It's really that simple. If you was out on the street and somebody attacked you, right? You just gonna let them hit you, or are you gonna defend yourself? You're going to defend yourself. This situation is no different. I'm tired of these men trying to voice what a woman should be when you're not a woman. You're not. You're not. I know some of y'all like to put on skirts, wear bras, and wear a cake full of makeup with a beard, but you're still not a woman. And for that reason, I don't expect for you to understand. I'm not about to be nice to some guy at the gas station. I'm not smiling. I'm mean mugging the hell out of any man trying to approach me at a gas station. That's just, when you're a woman, you got to move a certain way in certain environments. You can't always be friendly with people. It's just, it is what it is. And then a lot of men that think women should be friendly, and that's an invitation for men. So do you want a friendly girl that's always in somebody else's face being friendly? Or do you want a woman that's not friendly with everybody? Y'all don't even know the difference. So I just don't understand that. Like, come on. They are not women. They don't know what it's like to be harassed. They don't know what it's like to be stalked by a man. They don't know what it's like for a man to be blowing up their phone, emailing them from a new account, because the account you had before that, you blocked. You really think I'm going to be nice? Something is seriously wrong with these men. This is why men should stay out of women's business. This is why. You got to stay out of women's business, because you have no idea the things men have actually put us through. You cannot be nice. They take that as an invitation or a way to swindle their way back in. That's why you can't be nice. So yes, when I'm ending things with a man, I am very toxic and I'm very mean. I'm not nice. So if you're looking for someone that you can do dirty and she be nice to you, I'm just not that girl. Find her. She's out here. She's desperate, but she's out here. I'm just not that girl. So find her. Y'all treat women like trash, and then you expect for them to still be nice to you is insane. It's insanity. Who is doing that with you? Not me. And I'm pretty sure you'll call her wifey, da-da-da. Cool. Now you can drag her in a marriage. You're just not going to drag me, though. Do it to her. And I was just saying this. It's so funny. Since we're talking about this right now, I was just saying this on my Instagram. Okay? It's not a flex for a man to basically say things like whisper in your ear, oh, I'm trying to get you pregnant, or they jokingly throw around the phrase, oh, you my baby mama. I don't play when it comes to stuff like that. I will be the baby mama from hell. I will put you on child support. We will be in that custody court every week if that's what it takes, because your dumb ass should have chose differently, which was not to impregnate me. It's really that simple. I will be the biggest bitch, your worst nightmare. These men need to understand that. Y'all think going around impregnating women is funny. You think it's cool? Okay, come do it. I'm going to make your life a living hell. Soon as you see them results, oh, we going to the pits of hell, because why in the hell would you do that? Stop allowing men to plot on your future, scheme on your future. Them whispering that in your ear, that ain't cute. It's not cute for him to be jokingly calling you baby mama. You need to be asking them, so I look like a baby mama to you? Because that's disrespectful. We don't speak that type of stuff into existence. So if you think that stuff is cute, also think it's cute that I will make your life a living hell, your worst nightmare. Think of me standing over your bed at night. Like, I'm not playing with these men. Y'all got to stop being nice. That's the problem. That is the problem. Y'all too damn nice. So then they think they can swindle back in, ghost you after a week, come back. The hell? Like, y'all need to start being mean. If you scare them out of impregnating you, guess what? They're not going to impregnate you, sis. Like, it's that simple. I'm telling you now, I will scream it from the mountaintop. If you impregnate me out of wedlock, I will make your life a living hell. I sure will. You can call me bitter, a bitch, whatever you need to call me. At the end of the day, you should have never did it. You made a choice. It's really that simple. Like, it's really that simple. And I'm not the type of woman that's out here like that. I keep my legs closed. I keep my legs closed. But if I take a chance with you because we're in a relationship and you thought it was a bright idea to impregnate me before marriage, oh, I'm gonna make your life a living hell. Oh, I am. So no, I'm not out here just being crazy and just doing dumb things. But if I take a chance with you and you try to screw me over, I'm making your life a living hell. It is what it is. That's all I got, y'all. I'm about to log out. And listen, I'm not manipulating you. I'm not lying. I'm telling you exactly what I'm going to do before I do it. So if you make that choice, listen, it's on you. It is on you. And any man that's out here throwing around baby mama, start calling him bro loud. Start calling him bro, because a man like that don't respect you at all. He don't see no future with you, because if he did, he would have called you wife. So any man calling me baby mama, it's bro from here on out. Bro, how you doing? Bro, what's up? You good? Bro, because you have just now reduced yourself to bro, a man I don't respect. And it's really that simple. So you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'm going to end the live right here. This video is going to stay up. I'm not going to delete it. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. And then also your weekend too, because it's Friday.